Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. Seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, your boys are back. We just experienced a well-deserved WrestleMania week, and normally after WrestleMania, we'd jump right back into the fray and we would just start talking about whatever it is that come to mind, but how could we not spend at least one episode to break it all down? The fans were back in the house. WrestleMania, the tagline, back in business they were. But was it good business or was it bad business? We gonna talk about it right here.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and now your host, AJ Orsini with Dave.
How the hell is everybody out there? These are your boys. These are your main men. You dive soul brother from exactly the same, specifically the same mother. I am AJ Orsini, once again flanked by my boy Deceive Dave, as we bequeath unto all of you episode 186 of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. And folks, I'm going to give you the heads up. Brother Dave, Deceive Dave over here is fucking busting at the seams right now.
Foaming at the mouth.
I barely turned the fucking communication device on. For those of you at home wondering, every now and then we switch up how we conduct this show. We've done Discord, we've done Zoom, we mix it up. I barely got the Zoom on, and he just starts firing bullets at me. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, let me turn the fucking machine on. This is a big week. This was WrestleMania week. We've come to the end. Yeah, we've survived. And the fans were back. It's a whole new vibe. It's a whole new thing going on. Let me start off by just asking you, when's the last time you've seen... Now, you watched WrestleMania from your home, but you were watching it live as it happened.
Right.
When was the last time you did that?
The grape soda incident.
Wow.
From what I can remember, the grape soda incident.
So the last time... This is great. I love the fact that was the answer, because now we can tie it up beautifully, because that's what I do. I tie things up beautifully. The last time my brother saw a WrestleMania live as it happened was Edge's last WrestleMania.
Oh wow! I don't even remember that card. I just remember the incident.
He was the opener, him and Del Rio. That was the story going into this WrestleMania, because that was the story going into this WrestleMania because Edge was the world champion and he had opened the show that year, and it was the last time he'd been to WrestleMania because he quickly retired the night after.
Right.
So you left the business the same time Edge did, and then you returned the same night he did.
No way. Was it that long?
It was 10 years. That was the last time. You just watched WrestleMania 37. You're referring, the grape soda incident was WrestleMania 27.
Holy
Now, you've seen
shit.
WrestleManias since, but this is the only time that you were watching it, like, literally live as it happened.
Dude, I don't know what it was, man. I was touched by the spirit, I guess. I was just...
It's the podcast. It was back. It's in your
listening
blood.
to intros all day at work, man. I just couldn't stop. Soon as I got home, and God bless her soul, the wife had surprised me with fucking wings and beer, and
oh man,
people were here, and dude, it felt like an event, dude. It was nuts. I was excited. I actually sat on. You know how I watch wrestling. I was actually on the couch and watched the entire thing. There was nothing else going on but wrestling. And I had that bitch up to like 90. So I'm sorry to my neighbors, but I had that shit blasting all the way into the very end.
There you go.
So I was excited.
So this was a very important WrestleMania. Actually, I will go out on a limb right here at the start of the gun here. This is one of the more important WrestleManias probably in the history of WrestleMania, because this WrestleMania followed an unfathomable year. This was the comeback. This was, here's our presentation after a year off, right? Here's the blow off. Here's all of our new stars that we managed to progress, or, not progress so well, depending on how the talent's perceived, and we'll go through all that as we go through the card here. Who benefited from this year and who really didn't, because it was very obvious through the reactions that some of the audience did give some of the superstars how far some people had gone and how disappointingly behind they got on this. Right. Some of these stars did not use their year very well, and it showed. This was the year where we got to see.
Obviously showed.
Yeah,
it stood out because the discrepancy was so large between the two sides. To me, a lot of these matches didn't land in the middle. It was either ridiculously good or just why? What's the point of this? And I will point each one that I feel about them out when we get there.
When we get there. I want to renege on something before we begin this, because I wasn't going to say anything for reasons beyond my control. There was a few reasons. Last week when we recorded the round table,
right?
I had a private it wasn't a private conversation. It was on the show. But it became a private conversation because I edited out the ending part. There was a little conversation that I had with you guys on the round table that I said on the round table because I was excited about it, and I wanted people to know, and da-da-da-da. When we got blocked because of the audio issue, nobody really saw it but us. So I had a chance to really think about, do I really want it out there, this information, da-da-da. And in the heat of the moment, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave that alone, right? So I cut it out. So last week, I don't even
remember what it was.
I'm going to say it right now. Okay. Last week, if you listened to the roundtable last week on the replay or on the audio version that we released, you didn't hear this part because I took it out. But because we're going to be talking about these matches pretty much in depth today, I need to renege on that. I have to explain to people that last part. And that last part was, I told the guys that as a surprise for my family and for myself, really, we had tickets to go to night 2. So I was in the building for night 2. Now, I was going to keep that to myself because, quite frankly, I don't feel the need to tell everybody my business. That's why I ended up reneging on that. But I have to mention it here at the start, because if my review of night 2 is a little skewed or a little biased, I will explain. I'm going to put that out there right now that I was there, so it may have felt different for me.
I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you explained exactly what you did, because I'm coming in hot on night 2, and I know your experience is going to be the exact opposite. At least I'm guessing it's going to be the exact opposite.
No, I think we're going to land on different. Yeah, I think we're going to land on. But I'm saying this so that when I say my piece,
right,
people will understand where that part is coming from, because I can understand, because I've seen the show since. You know, because night 2 I didn't get commentary. I was there.
Right.
So I watched it back with commentary and tried to get the more viewing experience side of it, like from home. And I can openly admit, it felt different watching it on Peacock than it did when I was in that building. So we'll get to all that. I just wanted to put that out there at the very, very beginning. Besides WrestleMania, there's a little piece that's attached to WrestleMania. It always happens right at the end. It's nothing new. It happens every year. But there's a few shockers in there that I think I want to discuss on this show as we end later on. The WWE went through some of their spring cleaning, and there's been a few releases. I sent you a few names to your messenger. If you want to take a quick look at that as we progress through the show. We'll save that for the end since it happened after Mania.
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end because I think there's some things there to discuss. But
yes, you did. You must have literally just did that. Okay, cool.
Right before we went on, yes. So
gotcha.
Let's start night 1. Now, night 1 is the one show, the one show that we both saw live. on
Can I say that I for me personally, I called this shit. I said it. I'm pretty sure I said it on the pod during the thing saying, yo, night 1 looks better than night 2. To me personally, I was like, dude, this card on the first one looks insane with the main event. I said, I feel like the second one, the card looks pretty good, but there's so much opportunity for it to fall short. And in my personal experience, that's exactly what it did.
Let me just start with this. Okay, Peacock. Let's start with Peacock. I want to start my podcast off today by exclaiming at the top of my lungs, fuck you, Peacock. Fuck you in the ass as hard as possible with a dick that is unknown to any of you involved with Peacock. I want this to be foreign and an unknown dick to everyone involved. How fucking dare you? Because you purchased the WWE network stuff. You put all this stuff on your network. There's no maneuverability on this fucking website. You can't find shit. You can't look at shit.
It's not on the front page. I had to go find.
I had to go looking for this shit.
I couldn't. Night 2 was like the third screen to the right, but like night 1, I couldn't find it. I even forget how I found it. It was just by itself, isolated in some weird spot.
Would not connect. I missed more than half of the pre-show, and not just even when it did connect during the pre-show, it would freeze. I couldn't watch anything. I was livid because I'm like, bro, if this shit starts happening during
this was during night 1.
This was night 1. This is right off the gun.
That might have been a local thing because I didn't have that issue.
Might have been.
I'm just telling you I had no issues with connection, and I know where you were. The weather was nasty.
Well, that's what it was. Now that people know where I was, because night 1 I was already in Florida. I was in Orlando, right. And like I told you throughout the course of the day, I said, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to work night 1 because it's pouring over here."
Right.
And Lord and behold, that's where this conversation is going to start. For the first time in WWE history, the luck had run out. Vince McMahon has said on multiple occasions, as a matter of fact, if you go to the WrestleMania documentary DVD they did, Vince McMahon said himself, I've always been blessed with a little bit of good scheduling and a little bit of luck that we've been able to always run these events smoothly with no complications. Well, mark it down, folks. WrestleMania 37 was the end of the streak because they had a rain delay. First WrestleMania of all time with a weather delay. It's never happened before. I got to admit.
It happened twice.
It happened No, it didn't happen twice.
Yes,
when was the second time?
Back-to-back nights.
No, we didn't delay on the second night. We rained, but we didn't delay.
Okay. I felt like there was a delay, but okay.
Well, it was never announced to us.
I mean, you were there. You know better than I do. Yeah. I'm just saying, from my perspective, it felt like
I was concerned because this is the first WrestleMania I have my kid at, and my kid is 6. Now, I'm not trying to go. This is the era of Corona, so I'm not trying to have my son with the fucking sniffles, and then I can't get on a plane back to New York. Right? So I'm concerned. I'm like, okay, how are they going to handle this? What's going to happen? And I'm glad there was a piece of me because my wife wanted to do both nights. And I said, we can't do both nights with this fucking kid because I will strangle him. And I'm very happy that we didn't because my son enjoyed about an hour of WrestleMania and he was done. And he was just like, all right, how much longer are we doing this shit? So when we were watching from the safety and the dryness of the hotel, but I had friends in the building for night 1. So I'm messaging them. I'm trying to open communication with them, and they're talking to me. They're like, "Yeah, they're making these announcements, and we're supposed to be here, and then we're going to be allowed to do this and do that." So I'm keeping constant communication. WWE did their best. They were having people do promos just for the sake and the shits and giggles of doing promos and killing time. And I loved the view of Michael Cole and Samoa Joe in ponchos. That was cool because everybody was, which was another question I had. I was like, is anybody giving you ponchos? Because I saw people in the audience with ponchos.
Right.
So, and I know at Yankee Stadium when I worked there, we had a select amount of ponchos that we could hand out. Obviously not enough for everybody. So I was like, yo, are they giving you guys ponchos? And people were like, no, BYOP, baby. You either had a poncho or you didn't. And I was like, oh, fuck. I said, babe, we got to get ponchos. And we did. And we only needed it to get into the building for night 2. It literally, no lie, 7:30, bro, it stopped raining.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, my God, are you serious? I said, well, maybe the seats will probably be wet, but at least it's not fucking raining. So, yeah. So night 1, we've got the rain delay. They got the promos going. They're trying to buy time. And they'd said in the pre-show that the WWE Championship match would be opening the show. Thoughts on that? Let me get your thoughts on that. Opening the show with the WWE Championship.
I was extremely shocked.
Yeah.
I was extremely shocked. However, with hindsight, that was the smartest thing they did.
Yeah.
That was the smartest fucking thing they did. They started out with a bang, and this match right here, dude. When we talk about it, I don't know if my feelings are gonna change, but this has potential. To me, I know a lot of people. I've heard other people say differently, but I don't know. I think this might have been like match of the whole thing for me, and maybe that was just my excitement, but it was a really good match, man. These two together,
you busted Judna early, the first match.
Oh my God, it was so. This was so good, man. For two big guys, which I'm normally not. Yeah. I'm normally not someone who really.
I said that in the hotel room.
Right.
When we were watching it, I told Steph as the match was continuing on, I said, man, I would love to hear what David thinks about this right now because he's not huge on the big guys.
No, these guys.
But these guys are super, super heavyweight. They're the most athletic big men I've ever seen in my life.
Right, but they were moving. This match to me would have been perfect if it weren't for the fact, and you know what? Ironically, now that I'm about to say this, it kind of dawns on me. It set the tone for the rest of the WrestleMania. He didn't hit the Claymore.
No.
He missed it, but he attempted it, but he didn't hit it. And now like I said, with hindsight, this was a WrestleMania where there was not a lot of finishers. And when they landed, they ended the match.
Yep.
That was super. Like, I was hoping know what it was about that, but I loved it.
I was hoping to reveal that later, but you caught on to it. So that was
but
good.
This set the tone for it.
Yeah.
And it's just dawning to me right now because I told my buddy, I was like, I love that match. The only issue is I didn't get to see that Claymore.
Yeah.
On the big stage. And then now that I'm saying, I'm like, oh my God, a lot of the people didn't really like get their shit off.
Yeah.
They just had matches.
Yep.
Oh, dude. And you know what? It made the matches feel shorter without that shit dragging it on.
Well,
I wonder if they had a talk in the back and was like, hey guys, we got fans for the first time in a long time. This is our opportunity to kind of like reset this shit because it's getting too crazy in WrestleManias. Let's keep the finishers to a minimum, please.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up also here at the start. First of all, I would like to applaud whoever it was that finally convinced Vince McMahon. Too many matches. There's too much going on. 7 matches per night, for me, was fucking perfect. It was the perfect number. And it felt awesome to finally feel like we're back on a time schedule. Ever since the WWE Network, they just run their show for however long it runs. 2 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours and 15 minutes, 4 hours and 11 minutes. When we were on pay-per-view every night, and this takes it back to the Monday Night War a little bit, right. when pay-per-views ran monthly, you had a 3-hour window, bro. 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. That was your time. When you went to wrestling shows on the WWE back in the day, you knew what time the show was starting. You knew what time you were getting the fuck out of there, right? That had gone away for a long while. WrestleMania, it felt like it was back. I was like, oh, I know exactly what time we're getting out of here. They kept to the format all the way through. Night 1 had a rain delay. The show didn't really begin till about 8:30, but it ended at about 11:30. It kept to the 3-hour format. Right. So I was like, that's all that matters to me. Because I was thinking about that on the way back. I'm like, bro, because my hotel's in Orlando. It's an hour away from Raymond James Stadium. So whatever time we get out of here, I got to drive back.
Right.
And I just kept in my mind. I was like, well, I hope it doesn't run along. Hope it doesn't run along. But they kept right to the goddamn format. So I was like, there you go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You mentioned the situation about the finishing maneuvers. Let me jump back. This is like a comic book issue. Right here in the bottom is going to be there would be a little white box with a previous issue. This is the reference right here. When the pandemic hit, if you go back to my first live episode that I did during Corona, I said then, this is a wonderful opportunity for wrestling across the board. WWE, Ring of Honor, AEW, whatever. Independent wrestling, everything. To reset everything. This is a perfect opportunity for anything you don't like about this industry. Here's a good time to fucking tackle that issue and be rid of it.
Yeah.
And they slowly but surely along the way, didn't feel like it at first, but they slowly started getting back into more familiar areas. A lot of people think it's nitpicking, but you know what? To me, it's just normal wrestling stuff. It's bad. They were tackling a lot of bad habits. And one of those bad habits is the matches that take forever, the leg slapping, all these different things that we're hearing about now. The multiple finishes, having 3 or 4 false finishes a match, going back, blah, 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 all that stuff. WrestleMania was a nice showcase of some old school style of things, mixed in with a new school feel. There were a lot of newer talents who are just now getting the opportunity to do things a little crazy. We're going to get to it, but there's no bigger example of that to me than when we got to Rhea Ripley and Asuka. Because I had a big conversation. Because, you're at a wrestling show, people are talking, and I caught myself on a few occasions. I'm guilty. This is what I do for work. I call these matches. So I caught myself on a few occasions talking to myself, just out loud.
Right.
And I was just like, this, and I was kind of managing in my head. I'm like, slow down, sell that, please. Like, it was just little things, and people started hearing me. So Asuka and Rhea Ripley were like a second to last match. So by that time of the night, everybody was kind of subscribed to Orsini's Uncensored Mind right there, and they were like asking me questions, and they just kind of saw that I had an insight. So it just kind of made the experience a little bit better for them and for me, because it was fun to be around people and just. You know how I do when WrestleMania's on. I just start throwing out stupid facts and all this other stuff. So it was fun. But getting back to this first match, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, we'll get right into it now. This match was for the WWE Championship, and for the first time in history, the WWE Championship was on first. There have been world title matches that have opened in the past, but that was the World Heavyweight Championship, and then at 35, the Universal Championship. This was the first time the belt opened up the show. And at my old school roots, when they announced it on the pre-show, strangled me a little bit. It was like, oh, wrestling.
Change. I don't like
no,
it.
I don't like change because it's so
women main eventing.
Whoa, I didn't go that far. I was just saying. I was actually really excited about Sasha Bianca, but the idea that, like, for instance, when WrestleMania 35. The women were main eventing then, but Daniel Bryan and Kofi were still somewhere in the middle. Like, the open thing was the one that bothered me. But then I thought about it for a second as the show began on. Maybe you feel the same way, maybe you don't, you let me know. If there's one guy that I think, because you had to know, with fans in the audience, the boys in the back were arguing, who's going to be the first one to put their dick in this, right? Who's going to be the first guy out that curtain to get that pop? Because these fans are waiting. They're seething. They've been boiling for a year.
Who's going to get that first bust?
Yes. Who's going to bust that first nut? And you knew Drew McIntyre was sitting there going, me, motherfucker.
All the nuts after that. You go on vacation with a fine lady you've been trying to bang for a while.
Yeah, that first fuck off the hotel.
The 10 times you bang is going to be amazing, but that first
nut. Exactly.
That first nut is
you know what? I know that it was for the WWE Championship, but you know what? At the end of the day, for everything that Drew McIntyre did for this company over the course of the last year, that first pop should have gone to him.
Should have definitely gone to him.
Yeah, it should have definitely gone to him.
Especially knowing he's not going over right now.
Yeah, especially that. Right, exactly. Plus, as hot as that audience was, you had to know that if we're really truly here to get Bobby over as a heel, as a WWE champion, as a main event guy moving forward, this is as hot an audience as you're going to get for that.
Right.
And that's about as hot a moment as you're going to get. This is it. They planned it perfectly. I can't even complain about it. Again, my old school, but then as it started, I was like, no, this is it. Also, as you said perfectly, this match set the tone for the entire fucking show because they did not sugarcoat or powder puff anything. They fucking had a fight. They had a match. They hit each other with everything but the kitchen fucking sink. They told as good a story as they possibly could. Like you said, no Claymore. Bobby Lashley continued that roll through with the Hurt Lock. He gets Drew in the Hurt Lock. Drew tries to pull the old Bret Hart, push off the turnbuckle. Bobby rolls through. Guys, folks, these are massive individuals rolling through and maintaining the submissions.
Every time
like, what
I see someone stand next to Drew to scale, I am blown away on how massive Drew McIntyre is. Like, the dude is huge, and Bobby is no tiny man.
No.
These guys they move.
Super athletes.
Too good.
Super athletes.
Way too good.
And this was one of the better WWE Championship matches we've had in a long time. I know I said that about Kofi and Daniel at 35, and it was a great WWE Championship match. This was different. This was a great WWE title match for a completely different reason. The athleticism was there. But I think it's a combination of, look at the size of these individuals. This is the kind of, when people say, oh, Vince has a big man fetish, this is the kind of big man fetish he wants. He wants big men who can move and are athletes and can tell stories and can cut promos.
And these guys can do it, man. I'm telling you, Raw, I'm making a call right now, dude. I know it tends to be what happens, or at least from what I hear, but Raw is going to completely dominate SmackDown. Like, if this is foreshadowing for what's to come this next season as far as storylines, athletes, the way the matches are going to go, the promos, if this is foresight, Raw is going to steamroll SmackDown, man. They're just going to, with this at the top and the rest of the talent on that roster right now, it's really good. This was the perfect way to open a match. And to be honest with you, hopefully they obviously don't make this the thing that happens all the time. But they may have to flip-flop it or something, because that match close to the main event, I don't know if there would have been enough energy.
Yeah.
Not that the matches wouldn't have been good. I just don't think there would have been enough energy.
No, they would have blown the audience up, and Sasha and Bianca would have suffered for it. That's why, listen, when I say opening match, that's where my issue is. Obviously, you keep this match away from the main event. That's what happened with Kofi and Daniel Bryan. If you would have had that match and then put the girls out there, forget it. They would have gotten eaten up. That crowd would not have given a shit. But this match was fantastic. It would have blown up the audience. Any part of the card it would have been on this would have been an amazing match, which is why what followed it had a little bit of an uphill climb. Now, for those of you who did not see the show, when you see my social media and you see things like Titty Mania or Booby Mania, as some people were referring to it as, there's some question marks. What happened after Drew and Bobby Lashley was the women's tag team turmoil match.
I feel so bad for those two. I'm drawing a blank on their name right now. What are their names? The one in the pink.
The one in the pink. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. The Pink Demolition.
I feel so bad for them because this is such a huge moment. Yeah. They're the only one of them. I forget who it was, but one of them was the only ones in the entire roster that wrestled that night that slipped.
Well, there's rumors that Styles slipped somewhere. Okay. I didn't see it. I don't know if it was on camera, but
to be fair, at home, I don't know if you noticed it because you watched the first night at home, and I believe that was the most slipperiest of the nights.
Yeah,
their camera changing was so OD.
Yeah,
that it was almost impossible to see a botch. Because when you were talking about this match, saying that stuff happened, you couldn't see it. I didn't see it. It was happening so fast that I never know. I saw her pulling on her stuff, but I didn't notice anything.
Oh no, I saw the whole titty. I saw the nipple. Now to your point, yes, there was a lot of camera changing, and that's where I'm going with this. So before we get to the titty, Lana and Naomi opened, dope entrance. That must have been crazy live at WrestleMania.
Oh my God. I love those two together, man. I really do.
Billie Kay and Carmella, followed by the Pink Demolition, as we just mentioned. the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot, sporting their Harley Quinn and
two.
Joker outfits.
Those two are great. Can I say, hold on. I'm glad you said that. Are these the only two people?
Okay.
Fuck, man. That's so annoying. My phone went off. I just saw that. Are they the only two people that, like, did a theme? I don't think it felt like nobody really, like, dressed up for Mania.
They all got new gear. What are you talking about? Every single person in that building had something new. They just didn't do themes like the girls did.
But there was no themes.
Who gives a shit? Who wants a theme? I don't need a theme.
I don't know. I was looking for themes. I wanted a theme.
You would have gotten one. You would have gotten one for sure if they would have put Mysterio on the card. I love watching which comic book character he comes up with every year.
Right, and there is, and we will talk about this theme thing again later because I was severely disappointed. But let's move on. Okay. I wanted these two to win.
You wanted Pink Demolition to win?
No.
Oh, Riot Squad. Right.
I wanted the Riot Squad. Now, this is the first time me really kind of like watching them, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, they're really good, which is why they never win.
Super impressed with these.
That's why they never win, because they're super good. And why on earth would you put over good wrestlers when you can put over the other ones? The fifth team to come out and the eventual winners, Natalya and Tamina. I got to tell you right now, I was stunned.
That they won?
That first of all, forget that Tamina won anything in life was stunning. Wow. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they were talking about her all crazy, like 10 years in the bit. I'm like, wait, I don't even remember ever seeing anything about her.
Yeah, she's been with the WWE 10 fucking years. She's had maybe 12 matches. I don't fucking know. And I was like, what the fuck? And I don't understand all the talent. Like, and I said this in the hotel room. I said I would have let Pink Demolition win before Tamina and fucking Natalya. And my wife was like, "Are you serious? I mean, what about Natalya? That's Natalya's problem. You shouldn't have tagged with fucking Tamina. Tamina is the issue with me. Tamina is the issue.
I don't know if she had that choice.
No, I don't think she did either. I'm just suggesting Tamina winning anything.
Is she bad? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, why has she been there 10 years and like you never hear about her?
You don't hear about her because she can't be used in any situation. She's horrible. She can't do anything. Nothing, bro. She's completely ineffective. She can't do anything.
Well,
she's Snooker's daughter. Champion now, that's it. No, she's not. They lost the match. They lost night 2. That's why I'm saying, what was the fucking point?
No, you're right. That was one of. Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
later.
that was like. That's what I was like.
I blocked that out of my brain because that's not what I wanted to happen.
That's another what the fuck moment. But I digress.
We'll
I was like, all right, whatever. But just sticking with the tag team.
You're not looking too good night 2 already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. We'll get to it. I'm saying, tag team turmoil. So let's get. We just went over the winner and how unsatisfied literally everyone on the planet was about it. Let's go to the titty for a second because I saw some things and I was trying to talk about them on social media, and like you said, if you weren't paying strict attention to the mannerisms and the camera angles as it happened, you missed more than titty. I was trying to explain to people, and now that I'm on the show, I could explain in greater detail that if you watch the referee, if you watch Dana, if you watch the Riot Squad, everyone involved, right? If you watch the mannerisms and what everyone did at the time that they did them, what you saw was a collection of overwhelming frustration from everyone across the board, including people in the back. You could see it. I could see it from what was happening in the ring.
Really?
I could see how pissed off. Yeah, essentially. And I'll go into some greater detail. Okay, so the first time it happened, I forgot which spot it was, but the gear that she was wearing, and she being Dana Brooke, okay, the gear that she's wearing, they got the little piece in the middle, but for the most part, the top end of the gear is just cup. Right? It's just cup. So unless she's taped or unless she's got some other plan, there's no way those cups are going to hold. She is, well, how do the women say it? She's blessed in the chest a little bit, and she's had some work done, which also helps. Nice advantage there. So she's hefty. All right, not in a fat way, but her titties got some weight to her. Okay,
Right.
so the first thing that my wife said when she saw them walking after the slip, because obviously once the slip happened, that's what everyone was talking about. But when I mean, as a woman, she's looking at that. She goes, "I don't know if that's gonna hold, because you got to jump around a lot. So unless she's taped," and I was like, "Yeah, she's got to be taped, right? They both got to be taped." And sure enough, no, they weren't, because the first bump she took, a whole half of the. I saw the dark meat, the whole half of the whole nipple,
the good stuff.
Yeah, I saw some of the good stuff come out. And here's the funny part: she didn't know. Because
she didn't even quickly.
She didn't adjust. She didn't know it was out. So the cameraman was going bananas. He was trying to move, and like I told Steph, I don't know if people know this, but I'll tell you guys what I tell Steph. When you do a production like WWE, there's a bajillion cameras who catch a lot of different things. But for the most part, those camera angles happen because the cameramen have to remain stationary. There's a truck that Kevin looks at 30 fucking screens. Kevin being Kevin Dunn, who's the producer of the show. Right. He looks at about 30 different screens. Based on what those cameras are looking at, he decides on which camera angles should be happening in the moment. So obviously, you can't do a whole lot of moving around, because he needs a set look of what he's looking at so he can make sure that the show has a particular look. Now, it sounds sick, and it takes a lot of talent, I'm sure, to do that, but he gets power crazy with it, and sometimes his camera shots and his camera angles change rapidly, sometimes far too rapidly. There's a lot of criticisms that, especially on Raw, when someone's coming down the ramp, they'll go from one camera to the next, and it happens so fast that you don't see the actual walk. 1 minute he's on the top of the stage, and the next he's not. So he gets crazy with it. But in this scenario, his bad habit came in handy, because Dana did not know her titty was out. So they kept switching around, and as soon as the bump happens and the referee kneels down, whispers something, she immediately tags out. Right? So that's my indication to me that someone in the back got on the headpiece and said, "Get this bitch out of the ring and tell her to fix her shit." So that's what happened. She went through the ring. She got she got tagged out. She goes to the corner. She still doesn't do anything. The referee came over to her again to talk to her, and she finally leaned down behind Ruby, knowing she wouldn't be on the hard cam, and she fixed her titty. So now all is well, right?
Wrong.
Nope. So now Dana Brooke heads to the top rope. She's done this move 1,000 times, her variation of the Swanton Bomb. She goes up to the top, does the Swanton Bomb, hits the move, titty pops out again. This time, however, I guess because she's paying attention for it now, she catches it. Because the first thing she does after the Swanton Bomb is she pulls her fucking top up. But as she pulls her top up, as any woman with sizable tits will tell you, one tug is never enough. So
you gotta touch
she kept tugging. Yeah, she kept tugging on it. She went for the pin, kick out, 1-2, kick out, and she's still playing with it. So the referee again, whisper, off to the corner she goes, and now the referee is talking to almost everybody involved, right? He's way more involved than a referee should be. He's talking to Ruby, he's talking to Liv, he's talking to Mandy, everyone's getting it, and out of nowhere, there's a roll-up pin that Mandy kinda, sorta tries to break up. 1, 2, 3. Get the fuck out of my ring right now.
Damn.
Get the fuck out.
I didn't even notice that like that.
And the referee, after the 1, 2, 3 count, you can tell that this was a quick go-home, because the announcer, like the ring announcer, all that stuff, they started asking the referee, is she pinned? Is that it? Because that wasn't probably the planned finish for that.
Right.
So the referee literally has to walk over to the side of the ring and tell this person, yep, they're eliminated, they're gone, and then they make the announcement. And when he tells them, yeah, they're eliminated, they're gone, he's irritated as fuck. Which means, ever since the first titty popped out, he's been getting yelled at in his fucking headset for like 10 minutes fucking straight, Right. And he's done with WrestleMania at this point. He's just like, yeah, no, they're gone. Please. For the love of God, get these people out of the fucking ring. And I saw all that unfold that I just started crying and laughing. Because I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Damn.
My first instinct was I blamed Dana. Because...
Well, I mean...
No, hold on. I blamed her because when you get new gear like that, you're supposed to test that gear out.
Sure.
That's
the whole time you're saying that, I'm thinking like, did she even put it on? Did she put it on? Even in your locker room, put it on, do a couple rolls on the floor.
You're supposed to do something to make sure that it's going to go in.
You have a tag partner, tie up, do something.
But my wife, being the person she is, she started noticing, because remember, this was only match 2. And remember, when the show opened, everyone was on the stage with Vince. And did the whole welcome to WrestleMania, all that shit. And I hate it. I liked it, but I hated it. I liked the fact that he did that. I hate that everyone had to be out there with him because it spoiled all the reveals. I saw all the new gear, all the new hair, all the new everything before the entrances. But I'm kind of also glad that happened now on hindsight because of Titty Mania, because my wife pointed out everyone got new shit. We don't know when she got her shit. Right. Because I'm pretty sure Dana Brooke is not going to get her gear before Rollins is, or before Cesaro is, or before Styles is. So how do we know she didn't have time to test it? So fair enough, fine. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the specifics are, but I do know this. I know a panic go home when I see one, and that was it. They're like, no, she needs to get the fuck out of my ring right now.
Right.
So I was like, oh God. So I did, for a degree. I was like, I felt bad because imagine working in that empty building all year. You get to Mania and you get your shit pulled because your fucking top won't sit still. And I'm like, oh, that's got to be fucking, that's got to suck.
So bad. So bad.
Speaking of sucking.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. The following contest, Cesaro and Seth Rollins.
Oh, my God. Wait, you didn't like that?
Listen to me. Listen to me. Hey, they took both of our ideas. If you want to really be if you were paying attention to the match, the argument that my brother had about this match, about you feeling it might be too gimmicky and me feeling it would be too fast, they kind of were in the middle on this one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, they kept a pretty steady pace.
They didn't really rely too much on the Messiah thing, although he started getting his shit in toward the end there.
Yeah,
but they also didn't go 100 miles an hour. They told a decent story. They went out there. They did a lot of old school shit. There was a lot of spots that I saw that I haven't seen them do since the Rec Center, so that was cool. It felt like a more mature Tyler Black, Claudio Castagnoli matchup. But I take it you enjoyed it. You enjoyed this matchup?
Listen, you know how I feel about Seth Rollins.
I do.
I like Cesaro. He just needs to never talk. He's great in the ring. He's fun to watch. I said that since day one. I remember the first moment I've seen Cesaro, I texted you. I was like, oh, he's freaking awesome. And you're like, yeah, wait till he talks. And then he does it. I'm like, ooh,
there it is. And there it is.
But I like Cesaro a lot. And Seth Rollins, I'm not a huge guy. So I don't know, for just a one-on-one singles match, it seemed like it was a great moment for Cesaro. I mean, it didn't rock my socks, but I didn't hate it.
There it is.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to go back and watch it again, but in the moment, during the hype, during the fun, during the show, that's not a throwaway match. It was a good match.
Oh, yeah. Well, but see, there it is. And before when we did the roundtable, when we talked about the tag team turmoil match, we said, this is their moment to show me. Show me. Show the rest of the roster, show the rest of the audience, because they're always bitching. Why is it always the 4 horsewomen? Why is it always the 4 horsewomen? Okay, show me. And that tag team turmoil match did not show me. One team showed me something. Everybody else, it didn't work out.
Right.
This match, we said a very similar thing. Cesaro, this is it. I looked in the camera. I said, Cesaro, this is it. Home run here or forget it. And he does what he does.
Home run.
No,
Like,
and that's the problem. That's what he does. Cesaro's not a home run hitter. He's an on-base guy.
But that's
okay.
it.
He hits singles and doubles.
Guys.
Oh, we do. I've got no problem with that. But he's not going to. And before anyone can say anything, we're recording this Saturday morning, right? So we're kind of on par. It's going to be released tonight. SmackDown happened last night, so it's not much of a spoiler for anybody. But they started teasing Cesaro versus Roman for the Universal title. Okay? They began this last night. And your reaction just there is my reaction. You do not take Roman Reigns from Edge and Daniel Bryan and go to Cesaro, and that's my problem. That's my problem with this matchup. I needed something different from him. I needed something new from him. I needed something from him at WrestleMania. That is not the norm. He went out there and did exactly what he does. He has good matches. And I get killed all the time for saying it, but I've been doing this a long time, and people either get it or they don't get it. But wrestling is not the most important part in wrestling.
No, literally, the first thing that just came to my head is that a title run requires an extensive amount of promos. It's all about build-up.
Telling a story, which he can do physically.
Here we go. You ready? I got the storyline. Roman Reigns gets turned on, and then why am I drawing a blank on his name? I can't believe I'm
Jey
so
Uso?
bad. No, not Uso.
Heyman?
Heyman? Yeah. I'm sorry, I was drawing a blank on the Heyman. Heyman turns on him, gets on Cesaro's side, does the talking for Cesaro.
Well, here's the thing: Heyman's already managed Cesaro once. It didn't work.
Fuck, if he can't do it for you.
Exactly. And that's why he's been in limbo ever since. Because even with a manager, it doesn't seem to fucking work.
That's so bad.
It doesn't seem to work. He's a fantastic talent, a great human being. He is the dreaded. It's what every wrestler hates to hear, but it is what it is. He's a great hand. That's it. He's a mechanic. He can go in there and he can work a great match with anybody. But that's all he can do. He can't do anything else. There's nothing about him that grabs you. There's nothing about him that pulls you in. There's nothing about him where you're like, I got to sit and watch this match. Nothing. Seth Rollins couldn't get it out of you on the main fucking stage, it's not fucking there.
You're not doing that spin thing to Roman Reigns. And that's your entire gimmick.
No, he'll do it to Roman Reigns.
No.
Roman Reigns will sell it. He'll sell it. I think he sold it before.
He can't.
Yeah, he'll sell it, but it
not
won't.
Head of the table.
But here's the thing, though: the swing, as CM Punk stated not too long ago on Twitter, you can't tell me these moves mean anything when these moves don't beat anybody. He's never beat a single human being with that fucking swing. The swing doesn't do anything to anyone. In this program with Seth, all it did.
Never got anybody pinned.
Who?
The People's Elbow.
Yes, it did.
Did it?
Yes, it did. He's beaten people. He's won world titles with the fucking People's Elbow. Are you out of your fucking mind?
People's Elbow.
Yes.
I do not remember that.
I gotta send you some clips because he's beaten quite a few fucking people with that.
That's a shitty finish. No, I'm sorry. You can sell that all you want. That's an ass finish. That move is not to be a finisher. Is my point.
Well,
that's a gimmick.
You still think that it's a shitty finish if before the People's Elbow he dropped the rock bottom? Meaning he hits you with the rock bottom, and that rock bottom is the setup to the People's
Elbow was not the finish. The rock bottom was the finish. If I rock bottom somebody and then kick them while they're down, I didn't finish them with a kick.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Because it's the finishing move is the move you hit last.
No, it's not.
How is it not? I don't understand.
No, it's not. We will agree to disagree. That is not. That is not. You can even make a post in your thing and say, if I rock bottom and then I People's Elbow and pin them, what was the finishing move?
Yeah, in the record books it'll say The Rock defeats this person via the People's Elbow.
But because if he didn't do the rock bottom before the People's Elbow, he would not have gotten the pin.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Well, whatever. We could move past this, but we are going to severely agree to fucking disagree there. Fuck out of here. Pinning somebody off a People's Elbow, dude. Get him out of here. Fuck that.
Jesus Christ. All right. So Cesaro, Seth Rollins. didn't really do a whole lot for me.
It was a good match.
It was a good match. Exactly. It was a good match.
He didn't rock anybody's socks. And if they're trying to use that as momentum to catapult him into that light, they can give it a shot. It's not going to last long. If they're just trying to stall to maybe do the storyline again, I don't know. But I don't like that.
You didn't like what? The swing thing?
No, I don't like the whole Cesaro, like, even
competing for the
talking
title?
to Roman Reigns right now.
Oh, you know, it's funny. I didn't see it. I read it, but I don't even think he got a chance to talk.
No, you shouldn't.
So the next matchup for the Raw Tag Team Championship, AJ Styles and Omos defeating The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And all I can think about, Big E and The New Day. Big E was a part of the entrance for The New Day. As we said on the roundtable at Fastlane, they
will not let each other.
They will not let this fucking group die at all. Will not.
It's getting obnoxious.
And here's my problem with this, right? You had one of the best stables in a long time in the Hurt Business with MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander. They were moving the needle. Mm-hmm. People were genuinely interested to see where this program was going to go. And you broke them up inside of a few months. Yeah. But this shit
because you're blowing your load
is
on Bobby.
Still fucking going on.
Yeah. It won't die.
I don't understand it at all. You broke up the team, but didn't break up the team. They're just going to be the New Day forever and ever until the end of fucking time. Did you get anything from this fucking match? Because everybody keeps telling me how great night one is. And so far, the tag team tournament match, for me anyway, the singles match with Rollins and Cesaro, hit or miss. This match, what the fuck was the point of this fucking match?
See, and I think when we get into it, you'll see why I feel like night one was the best. And I think it just comes from consistency, right? Like nothing besides that first match so far, nothing but that first match was a wow or holy shit or, this is awesome type of deal. But so far, the matches have been good. At this point watching it, I'm not disappointed. Right. So there's no negativity in my brain. I mean, we watch wrestling. You watch it way differently than I watch it, but I still see things. And when I'm sitting there, with my wife watching, I point things out. I'm like, oh, you see that and this, that, whatever. Because she doesn't notice that stuff at all. I notice some of it. You notice all of it. So 3 different tiers, and I'm like right in the middle. So I'm like calling stuff to her. She's looking at it. She's oh, cool. That's awesome. Blah, blah, blah going on. So far at this point, when AJ almost comes out, I'm not disappointed. I then get severely disappointed to where you're going to New Day me on WrestleMania with Big E coming out, and then you're going to fucking do this bitch-ass low-budget entrance wearing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers gear. I was so disappointed by that entrance. Like there was no flair to it at all, except for the fact that you just wore Tampa Bay's colors.
Yeah, I think you were predicting some sort of Final Fantasy.
Well, not Final Fantasy, but they're very video game centric. Right. That's what they do, and they've been blowing the house up with all these awesome gimmicks.
Yeah, and instead they went football route.
Instead they just went, and not even like no shoulder, like that. They literally came out in different colored Monday Night Raw gear, or just like your average wrestling event gear. Like I don't know. To me, I was because that's what New Day for me is. Like they're great wrestlers, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods. Like they're consistent wrestlers. They go in there, they do their job, they kill it. They don't botch that much that I've noticed.
No,
and they go in there, they do an excellent job, and then they leave. But the biggest part for me with them, which is a huge selling point, is their gimmick, what they do, and their flair and their excitement. And it just felt like a normal wrestling day. I don't know. I was so sad by that. That was the first moment so far in WrestleMania at this time that I was like, oh. I was so fucking annoyed. Like at one point, I couldn't even tell it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because it wasn't the same red.
and you can't really tell until you saw the side of their leg where
like a patch or something.
The pirate thing, the flag. It was a little bit different for like New Day, but it was the same gimmick, right?
Yeah.
That's at that point. That's when I noticed when they were like halfway to the ring, or if not in the ring, I was like, oh, that's Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing that they're doing. But there was no flair to it. I don't know.
Did that disappointment affect your opinion of the match?
The match. I mean, it's.
You mean the New Day versus AJ Styles handicap match?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, AJ went in there, did his thing. New Day went in there and did their thing. Almost, or however you pronounce that, came in and, did the big guy thing. I mean, it was fun. He got his moment. He's a big guy. People have been waiting to see what he's going to do in there. I mean, again, I wasn't disappointed aside from the entrances.
He's the kind of big guy that you're talking about when you say you're not a fan of big guys.
No. Well, he's the extreme of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to see him and someone else his size in the ring.
Black Khali.
Right. I don't want to see two guys that size in the ring. Like, it's just I don't like that. And
if they would have done Almost versus Big Show, you'd be like, nope, skip.
No, I'm good with that. And then on top of that, like, the thing with him is that the only time you can really maybe get something out of him is by putting him in there with a Bobby Lashley or Drew McIntyre, because that's the only thing that's believable. And an actual one-on-one match, that is the only thing, those guys of that stature, that makes it believable.
Yeah.
But then it's just unfair to Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre
to carry this motherfucker
that much weight. Carry that much. They have to tell all the story. They have to do all the damage.
So you're not hyped for the possibility of an almost Miz matchup somewhere down the line?
No. I feel people of that stature.
Mysterio could kill the Giant Slayer.
Jesus Christ. I will never watch wrestling again. The problem with guys of that stature is that it's just not believable. His job is to just kill people, and that's it. You'll never get a true one-on-one singles match that's like, all right, that's a good match. I just don't believe it'll ever happen.
No, he's an attraction at best.
Even if he was a great wrestler, I still don't think you would get that. I don't think, I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of the Big Show, but it's not because he's bad. It's just his stature hinders him.
Fair enough.
So, I mean,
you liked him better as the Giant when he was doing drop kicks.
Jesus Christ.
So our next matchup.
Speaking of Giants.
Yeah. So the Strowman Express rolled into Tampa to take on Shane McMahon inside of a steel cage. I have to admit, as we all knew what this match was.
No, you fucking sing his greatness. You say it right now.
We all knew what this was going to be. This was just a situation of getting Shane into a big bump situation.
Possible match of the night, like I said on the round.
No, I didn't know. I'm not. No. But
Shane O'Mac,
I knew he was coming off. Right, we all kind of saw that coming. You didn't take a rocket scientist to know that Shane was coming off that cage. They came up with a unique way to do it, so I thought that was cool. I love the aspect of the tearing the cage apart.
That was great.
That was cool.
Yo, my wife lost her fucking mind when that happened.
Nah.
This was the first match, because I want to start implementing that, because it was very interesting watching this event with her. She's actually way more into it than I assumed she was going to be. And at first, I thought she was just trying to, like, keep me hyped. Nah, dude, she was, like, into this shit. And this match was the first one that she actually was just, like, the shock and awe thing that you get with Shane.
Yeah.
Like, she loves Shane, by the way. She goes every time Shane comes
That's
out.
how you know she's your wife.
Absolutely. She fucking loves Shane. We go crazy every time he comes out with the little footwork. It cracks her up, dude. She thinks it's
count the money.
She loves it. So him in that match, when they were up top and he was getting ready to throw him off, I knew it was coming. And so she's just kind of watching it, right? Like, she doesn't see it the way we see it. She watches it for what it is. So they're killing it. They're doing a good job. I thought they were doing a great job the whole time. Shane running the match like he always does. He does a great job doing his thing. Gets up top, throws him off the top of the cage, and she loses it. Her jaw's open. She's like, "Oh my God, did he really fall from that?" And I'm just watching, and I'm like, "Damn, man!"
But hey, man, that's what he does.
That's what he does. But can we please talk about how this guy, that bump was fucking beautiful. I don't think there was any other way from that height that you can have taken that bump. Like, if you watch the way he landed, he almost landed. I know it's still gonna hurt like fuck, but he almost landed like right where his shoulders would touch the mat, and he kind of like rolled a little bit to take away a little bit of the damage. Oh man, I watched that drop like 3 or 4 times. Just it was a freaking masterpiece. The way he flipped, and the point of which he landed with a small roll to kind of take away some of that hurt. It was fucking beautiful, man. I was so blown away by that.
Here's where I give Shane McMahon a ton of credit. He is the only.
Say it slowly.
He is the only person I have ever met in the history of wrestling, except for maybe Jeff Hardy, where he could take a bump that's humongous for no reason, for no logical purpose,
right?
And no one has a problem with it.
Absolutely,
because that's what it is. It's what he does.
Listen to me.
There was no reason for this match. There was no story to this other than him calling Strowman stupid, which still is. Calling someone a bad name is not a fucking storyline. It just isn't. There was no reason for this match. There was no reason for this situation. We set it up the round table. How did we even get here? And yet, it seemed like it fit on the stage that it was at. It was just like, this just feels like a WrestleMania match. There wasn't many of those on the card where just like we said earlier, Cesaro Rollins could have happened on SmackDown. That tag team tournaments could have happened on SmackDown. The Styles Almost match or New Day could have happened on SmackDown. This match just felt like, this is a WrestleMania match.
Oh yeah. This is when it started to like feel like it's more of a spectacle.
Yeah, there's the entertainment portion of our show right here. This is the old crash and burn situation.
I was thinking about it. I wonder if this whole gimmick thing, I know kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I wonder if it was just something Braun. I got the feeling that it's something that was important for Braun to do about the whole bullying thing, because he's very specific about the bullying part, being picked on and stuff like that. And then he said like, oh, this is for everyone who's ever been bullied and blah blah blah. So I don't know. When my brain started to think that, I kind of started like disliking it less and just was like, look, if that's what it's for, and the kids who get bullied want this large man to tell you, listen.
But that's where you lose.
Then I think that's cool. I don't know. I think it's cool. I don't have a problem with that.
See, that's kind of where you lose me, because I think it was. Didn't Strowman have? I think Strowman had a documentary about him on the network like a year or so ago. Right. This was back like when they were actually trying to make him a main event guy, and they kind of took him. They took us into his home, and we met his parents and all that good stuff. And they told stories then, real life shoot shit about how when he was growing up, he was an awkward kid, big dumb type deal, and he used to be made fun of and blah blah. And then he started lifting, he started getting bigger, and all of a sudden the fun making kind of went away, obviously, because he looks like he will murder you.
Well, yeah.
I understand that ride portion of it. I get it, right? Anybody can be bullied. You don't have to be. You could be big, small, male, female. It doesn't really matter. Anybody could be bullied. The problem is he hasn't been presented much as a sympathetic, or I don't want to say weaker, but he's never really come across during his whole run as an underdog kind of character. So for him to go from the monster among men, the Strowman Express, he's a dominator. He's essentially spent his whole career being a bully, and now he's trying to get sympathy because he used to be bullied back in the day. And that story, I think, would work really, really good if he was in there with someone who could bully him.
Well,
Shane McMahon's not going to bully anyone.
No, I knew you were going to go there, and that's not true.
Okay, explain.
Shane is someone of stature. He is a boss. He's corporate. He controls things. He controls the matches. He is a figure. If you are a figure in something, it doesn't matter your stature. Some people even say the smallest people with power abuse it because they can't do it anywhere else. So this would, and you're right, but this will only make sense if it was someone bigger than him, good luck, or someone who has some type of power over him, which Shane does. And that makes sense.
And here's where, again, I don't think it makes sense, because how Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, you can say they've had power the entire time in WWE, correct?
Okay, that's true.
Okay, did Stone Cold let him bully him?
Well, no.
Did The Rock let him bully him? Did Chris Jericho let him bully him?
These are different people.
That's my point. Strowman this doesn't work for Strowman.
Why?
Because he's not on that level. He's not that talented. He's not that sympathetic. The guys that I just mentioned, you just said a second ago, well, he's not them. Right. They worked. He doesn't.
No, I think it's the opposite. You couldn't do that with those guys because they are who they are.
And you
Based
can't
on
do
what
it
you're
with
saying
him.
About Strowman, you can because of exactly what you're saying.
Because he's a lesser human being? Because he's less talented?
It works because of that, yes. If people see him as someone that...
But it's not a gimmick. It's a storyline. Is he going to continue to be bullied after Shane?
Could be. And listen, and that's where you lose me. Right?
What happens after?
This doesn't exactly. I can believe this.
Okay.
And people change their gimmick and story at a drop of a dime all the time. So that's not an excuse to where he was this way, because you could easily spin that by saying that he was that way because of the bullying. That's fine. And if this is a thing that you're doing to help kids, that's fine.
Right.
My only problem is that now you need to lean into it and go all the way.
And watch, they're going to turn him back into a heel tomorrow. And he'll be fucking people up and calling them assholes again.
No one else needs to bully him. See, right, this is the beautiful thing, right? Who else is going to bully him? It would have to be someone of corporate, because there's nobody else in the roster that's big enough to say some shit like that to him that, in theory, he wouldn't kill. So you got the corporate guy to piss him off. Now, everyone else who he can beat up but talk shit can just call him stupid, and he beats the shit out of him. Like, this could work if you lean into it. But if it was just one random ass thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I think this was all Shane's idea. I thought this was all Shane's idea to get into a WrestleMania situation where both are going to get a nice little payoff and a nice little rub from it and have a WrestleMania moment. I guarantee you they're not doing anything else with this after.
Probably not, but if I was in the writing room, they would.
Oh, you're damn sure right they would. This is what we're gonna do from now on. Speaking of the writing room, they must have had a full-on erection when they got to this next match. The writing staff must have been patting themselves on the back as Bad Bunny and Damian Priest get to the ring to take on apparently the ultimate heels. If you listen to anybody in the business right now, The Miz and John Morrison made out as the MVPs of Night 1 because they somehow made Damian Priest and Bad Bunny look like the greatest tag team in the history of professional wrestling. So I've been told.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
disrespectful.
Deal.
Before we get into why that's disrespectful, because I was actually waiting for this. What is your honest opinion on this?
On this match?
On this match, and what did you think about Bad Bunny?
I thought, okay, it's going to be quick because I didn't think much of it, right? So, and it's not on a negative side. I actually liked it. I liked the match for what it was and for what it was supposed to be. It's a spectacle, right? You got a celebrity in there doing some stuff. This isn't the first WrestleMania match to have it. It won't be the last.
Right.
If people are going to tell me that, Bad Bunny has a lot of respect for the business and he's always been a fan and he took it seriously, he did all this and that, I will believe it because it showed. Right. You can talk about all the moves he did, which is fantastic. That Falcon's arrow was fucking picture perfect. I'm not even going to touch the Canadian Destroyer because fuck it. I refuse. It's cartoony, and if it wasn't killed before, it's definitely a dead move now. But I'm not talking about the Canadian Destroyer, but just the way that he executed certain things, the way he moved around, the way he kept up the tempo with these guys, that was all impressive. The most impressive part of this match to me is the heat. He took the heat. He got beat up.
Yes.
And then tagged in Damian Priest to come in and look. And we were saying before at the roundtable, there were people who on the roundtable said, I don't like this match for Damian Priest because of da-da-da-da.
Right.
And
I was one of them.
Right. And my only argument is if the whole point of this is to give Damian the rub, then I'm with it because there's no other real space on the card for him. This is something for him to do, right? I was just playing devil's advocate, right?
Right.
But looking at how this match went, this was perfect for Damian Priest.
Yeah.
It was magnificent. He
really
looked
good.
like a fucking star in this fucking match. And it wasn't just because Miz fed for him. It wasn't because Morrison bumped for him. It was also because Bad Bunny did the one thing no celebrity ever wants to do. The celebrities that usually join these matches are always looking for that one moment to where they can get their shine in, and then they get the ESPN moment or the Fox News moment or whatever the case may be.
Right.
You know, some sort of still shot that TMZ can share. Bad Bunny in this, and I don't like him as a musician. I'm not a big fan of his music. I don't have a problem with him. I think he's a cool dude.
I mean, I don't know what he says, but the beats are fucking nuts.
Yeah, the beats are ridiculous. Yeah, he proved to me, and he proved to a lot of people that everything he said when he came into this was absolutely fact. He cares about this. He respects it, and he showed it in his action. You know, there's a lot of celebrities that come in here and say, oh, I grew up a wrestling fan. I love wrestling. And then they go out there and they do everything for themselves.
Right,
Bad Bunny did not do that. He got over. He got his shit in. But he got his shit in toward the end.
Right.
He took heat. And then
he worked in actual match.
He worked an actual match. And for that, I will always have respect for the guy. To come into my world and do what he did the way that he did it, I will always have respect for him. Always. He did, in my opinion, raise the bar to what celebrity involvement could be.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that hits that bar.
I don't think so either, but the bar is set.
It's high.
It's high. It's up there, right? Yeah. This match was what it was, right? It was supposed to be an attraction.
And I'll tell you what, The Miz and John Morrison did nothing to help other celebrities because The Miz just... the way he was selling, I fucking love The Miz, dude. I'm telling you, he's probably one of my favorite. He's up there on my top 5. He's up there on my top 5. I would have to actually go over that list for that to really be good. But The Miz is definitely up there for me, man. He went in there, he sold it to like this guy's who is this idiot? Get him out of my goddamn ring. This guy is trash. And then like one thing happens, he's like, okay. And nothing happens. It's like, okay. Another thing happens. It's like, all right, you're getting annoying. And then another thing happens, like, okay, what the? Like now he's trying to attack him and shit's happening. He's like, okay, hold on. And then John Morrison, fucking beautiful on the side. Dude, he's yelling at him like, take this seriously. What are you doing out there? You're looking ridiculous. It just the way they told the story in the match, the way they built it up. And honestly, Bad Bunny did great. And I don't want to take away from what he did because that was phenomenal. It was very entertaining to watch, especially just being a celebrity. But the bar would have been set far lower if it wasn't for the reactions and the way that the Miz and Morrison played in to both of them and the way that it worked. It was I was shocked to how good this match over the rest of the card, like in comparison, like if I were to put it in a list for this card, like the best to worst match, this is up there, probably the third best match, close third best match of the night.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 7 matches right now in front of me. I'm going to tell you right now, of the 7, if I had to go like at least 7, my ultimate favorite was 1. This is the third. This is 3.
This is a close. This is 3. This was but right it's up there. Super close with Braun and Shane.
And for me, I put it ahead of the steel cage just for the simple fact that it's the surprise factor.
Correct.
Right? Shane, I knew was going to take that bump, and I knew there was a few things that were done in that cage match where I'm like, oh, that was an interesting thing or creative thing. Bunny shocked me.
Right.
I watched most of that match stunned out of my mind.
Right.
I was popping for shit I wouldn't normally pop for. Right. I don't go crazy for Falcon arrows, but this guy did a fucking Falcon arrow. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck?
It was good, man.
He almost lost me. It almost went off the rails with the Canadian Destroyer, and I was like, all right, that was the Morrison thing. I could tell.
Right.
I don't think it was a Bad Bunny idea, but the fact that Bunny had the balls to do it, credit, but I could have done without that. But everything else, and more importantly, and I guess that's just me being an inside guy, Priest. They didn't damage. I didn't even expect them to do a lot. They just didn't hurt him, and I'm okay with that. It's like
I'm so ready.
I was like, as long as they didn't fucking kill the gimmick and do a bunch of ridiculous shit, I'm fine. But it went the other way. That actually, I think he got something from this.
He got a lot.
He got that first WrestleMania out of the veins, and he's like, "All right, I'm ready for that."
Not only did he get the first WrestleMania out, not only did it go well, not only did he get his experience, but everything, any fan that comes from Bad Bunny is now attached to Damien. So any new fan that comes just from Bad Bunny automatically gives Damian Priest a huge following. Like just off of the Bad Bunny side, because anyone that starts to like wrestling off of this, like if this was the match that brought you in and now you're a big fan, you were going to be a fan of Damian Priest.
Absolutely.
Like you're going to. So this,
nice
listen,
transition.
I said during the pod last time that this made me really sad for Damian Priest because I am super excited and hoping to God that they don't kill this guy because I think he has so much talent. And
I think that needs to be rephrased because you weren't down on it for any negative reason. You actually were looking at this in a positive light for him. Like you want something good to happen to him. Like you felt like this would hurt in some way, but it ended up not.
No,
so that's
it
good.
ended up being top 3 match of the
I know. And then people are gonna tell me night one was so great because Bad Bunny was one of the biggest fucking things. So.
Listen, we'll talk about the comparison once we get into the dumpster fire of night 2, okay?
Okay.
But before we do that,
one more match.
We have a motherfucking extravaganza to talk about.
One more match for night 1 here, and that is, of course, your main event of the evening.
Oh my God!
Bianca Belair, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble for 2021, takes on the wizard, the magician here, Sasha Banks, and I want to start this off by saying really, really quickly, the comments by JBL during the pre-show, really quick when it comes to this matchup, because I didn't see it live. Because remember, I was having Peacock issues. I didn't fucking get to see all of the pre-show, and I guess I missed this part. But apparently Booker T, who we're going to talk about quite a few times here for some reason in night 2, but Booker T had to check JBL live on the air during the pre-show. I don't know if you caught that. Did you hear about that?
I was watching it, but go ahead and say because maybe it'll spark a memory.
So JBL, there was a lot of talk about the fact that this is a women's main event, and JBL was the one who took it there, stating that it's a huge day for women, not so much Black history, right? Because they've had.
Oh, I do remember that, and when he said that, my brain said, "Ooh, that's weird coming from the white man."
Yeah.
But I also said I don't think he means it that way. I think he's trying to.
I know what he's. Yes. There was a meaning behind what he was.
It has nothing
saying.
to do with them being Black. It has everything to do with them being women and where they are and what they've gone through. But when the white man says it, doesn't quite come.
It hits different when the white man says it.
I still tap my hat to what he said.
I always give JBL credit for having the balls to say the things that a lot of people are trying to say.
Because he means it.
Yeah, because
he doesn't mean it in a race. Yeah. He's trying to say, let's get this away from race.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with race. These women are phenomenal wrestlers.
Yes.
They deserve to be here.
Right.
But the white man says it.
But here's the thing. Yes, when the white man says it, it sounds funny. Or it doesn't hit the same. No. But in all fairness, and maybe you feel different about this than I do, he's wrong. Because I think there's more than enough room for both. Okay. Yes, this is a great moment for women. This is only the second main event in WrestleMania history. So yes, there's a component to that. Yes, I know the point is that they're phenomenal athletes, especially someone like Bianca, who's got all those collegiate credentials, and Sasha, of course, being one of the greatest women's champions of all time. Phenomenal athlete. And I get where he's going. But I'm super glad that the black guy, the most decorated, the most celebrated, arguably one of the most respected African-American wrestlers of all time, checked his ass big time. Because he didn't disagree with JBL. He didn't disagree with him, just like we're not really disagreeing with him here.
Right.
But don't discount the meaning on the other side. That means something.
Right.
Booker T is basically telling JBL, it means something to us, brother. Right. This is not something that we're just looking at side-eyed because it's women. They're black women. And that's what we're trying to hold on to with this because, yes, for the first time in WWE history, and there are many people who are going to argue it to the day they die because this was night one's main event. Not technically the last match, but it was the last match on this night. Thus, main event.
Oh, don't tell me people are saying that.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Because of course, women are in the main event, so of course I got to try to find something.
Get the fuck out of here. All right, you want to say some reckless shit like that? This is better than your main event then. Get that out the way real fucking quick.
But that's my point here. And for the most part, Bianca has been very headstrong in her time in WWE. Obviously, Sasha's the consummate professional, with the exception of when she snaps and goes off the rails. But that's a conversation for another day. When she's in it, and she's very good with this stuff. I liked, but did not like, just for the moment. As a fan, I liked it, but as a performer, I kind of. When they both kind of got lost in the moment after the intros.
Yes.
That moment of emotion because they realized what this was. And when they were good, they were in their gimmicks, they were in the moment until the music stopped and until the introductions were over and it was just quiet, and all of a sudden out of nowhere the audience just got up and gave it to them.
And that explode. They dumped everything on
because all 25,000 people in that building, white, black, Latino, male, female, they all knew what this was.
This is fucking massive.
This is massive history taking place on the big stage.
With no better two individuals.
Absolutely. No better two on the planet that could pull this off than these two. And the crowd with folks, we just spent a year in the Thunderdome, okay? This was not piped in.
No.
This was not fake. This was not phony. There was no signs. There was nothing on the Titantron that said, hey, give them an applause. Nothing. Raw, real, genuine emotion from the audience.
Right.
And they gave it to them. And that was the moment for just a brief second where the two of them kind of lost it. And it was too much in the moment. They got it back.
I fucking got emotional.
Yeah,
I'm not even in there. I wasn't even there.
They got it back. They got it back, and they got on track, and they ended up having one of the greatest WrestleMania main events I think I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. We were talking at the round table night one when we did the brackets about that first women's main event and how it was a bad matchup against Triple H and Batista, but we gave it its due. This match was far superior. Far, not even close to that triple threat match that happened about 2 years ago. Sasha and Bianca, in my opinion, had one of the better main events I've ever seen in my entire life. The raw emotion, the history at stake, the athleticism of all of them. Sasha bumping around like a Super Bowl for this mega athlete. Bianca hitting I did not see Bianca fuck one thing up. And folks, I was looking for it.
Poetry.
I was looking for it.
Her fucking presses, her backflips, her awareness. I always pay attention to her grabbing her hair. I know when she's about to do something nuts when she grabs her hair. I told you that's my biggest fear of her, so that she's very attentive to that. Yeah. And she was just flipping, looping. And at one point towards the end where she does off the top, you can see it in her face where she's just like starting to overthink it. Yeah. Where she might fuck this up, and she does this thing where if you go back and watch it, you can see it in her face where she completely checks herself. Yeah. You see the fear, like, fuck, I might mess this up. This is too much energy. How do I do this? Like all that shit going through her head, and then she just gets this look in her face where she's just like, fuck it, and she just goes and hits it.
Yeah. There's a moment I've noticed this in my career. I've called quite a few matches over my career. There's a moment in every match where No matter how nervous a competitor is, and as a commentator and as a performer myself, I've seen it 1,000 times. You see people walk up and they're like, all right, I'm nervous and I'm feeling it. I'm getting the butterflies, blah, blah, blah. There's always one moment in the match where it's visible that this person is no longer nervous. They are locked in. They're feeling it. They're in the groove. For me, for Bianca, that was when Bianca did the spot where she gorilla pressed, she military pressed Sasha above her head and walked up the steps.
Right.
And then threw her into the thing, and I went, she's in. That was it. Because that took a level of concentration and focus. Most people, forget women, most people don't have. That was easy peasy, lemon squeezy for this chick. And that only happens when you're in the zone. And I was like, oh, boy. When she did that,
whole thing.
I said, oh, we're cooking now.
Oh, let's talk about that whole spot together. First of all, you made a comment recently about diving out of the ring.
Yes.
It's like, is it special anymore? Like, what's the point of it? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever you were saying about that.
Right.
And I'm just going to do a quick glimpse because we're talking about them and they're the main focus. But I was thinking about this when I was watching the Roman fight, Edge and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan dives out of the ring twice, and both times he clips his feet. This man should have died twice that match. A man who should not be landing on his head is diving out of the ring and clipping his toe twice. And Roman, like the god he can be, saved him twice. Every time this girl jumps out of the ring, she just does it so beautifully.
Who is this girl? Which one are you talking about?
Sasha Banks. She came out of the ring, didn't even touch it at the perfect angle, just with the way it's supposed to be, because she's supposed to land in a way where Bianca can grab her and do the roll with the momentum. And then freaking Bianca just grabs her perfectly, hooks her right under the arms, does the perfect roll, flips over, and then begins to clean her in one move. And if you don't understand how heavy a human body is, even though she's small and Bianca is strong, that's not an easy task to do.
Yeah, because force adds more weight.
All that momentum, and for not a single one of them to get hurt, and for it to have been such a flawless transition, dude. And I think that's very funny that you said like that was a moment when she got her over the head and walked into the ring that you felt her energy change from holy shit to this is my house. This is what I do.
This is Bianca. This is the Bianca that we were hoping we would get to see in this situation. She's locked in, she's focused, she's following. There were actually a few moments, and I don't want to give too much of the behind-the-scenes stuff away, but a few moments where I thought I could almost swear she was calling some shit. And I was like, oh, my God, if she's in there calling shit, forget it. I'm like, oh, she's ready. The temperature is right. Let me give you a little hint, a little insight on those dives from Sasha. A lot of guys have a problem with this. This is why Daniel gets clipped. A lot of guys get clipped when they do this. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. Whenever I see a female do it, especially shorter ones, I feel like this is a natural instinct for them. This is why Sasha doesn't clip. She does a hip shift. When she goes through the rope, she keeps her upper body straight.
Right.
But as a safety precaution, to make sure your feet don't get hit, they shift their hips so that their feet are sideways. That also worked out perfect for this particular spot because with her hips shifted, all you got to do is put your arms straight, and you can get in between the legs, and there's your catch.
Right.
So it worked out great for everybody. But if you noticed in that matchup, she hit the dive without the catch, you'll notice that her hips, they shift. She turns her hips at the last minute.
Oh, yeah, I saw when they did a slow-mo. You can see, like, at the point of exiting the rope, she's almost, like, horizontal.
Yeah, she's almost horizontal. She shifts it because she's afraid she's going to get clipped. That's a safety precaution for a lot of people. Some guys are really good with the timing because a straight-up dive, you flatten your feet. So you point your toes back so your shin onto your toe is one flat surface. That's how that's supposed to go.
Right.
With Sasha and a couple of other people that I know personally, they much more prefer the other way. I'd rather just move it out of the way completely because I don't trust myself to remember to flatten my feet. So they became, with training, it became instinctual to just turn. And it works out perfect for that spot because she's got to catch her.
Right.
So, yeah, overall, I just thought that this match was absolutely fucking fantastic. And can we talk about the whip. Because the fucking whip.
I don't know how I feel about the sound effect they added.
Okay. Let's address that for a fucking second.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I still don't believe for one fucking second they added anything. I still don't believe that.
No,
how
come
the
on,
fuck
dude. That was the sound of a whip.
How do you time that shit live? And there's people who were in the building who posted their videos of hearing the fucking whip. So, I mean, how the fuck did you time that? Because the audio
telling me that whip sound,
I will show you
actually her.
Yeah, let me see.
I'm beyond gone, dude.
Hold on, I need to pull it up. As we're talking, I'm gonna pull it up because I saw people arguing online about that, and people were uploading their videos from being in the building, and they reacted. Oh, they heard the crack.
You did see everyone's. I did notice that I saw everyone's reaction.
But that's what I'm saying. If you piped it in, how'd the audience know to react like that?
You know, I didn't even think about that because I assumed that they would have heard it too.
No,
because it sounded like it didn't sound like it was something through the TV. If that makes sense, it sounded like the audio came from the arena. If that does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like the commentary, like only the TV can hear it. It didn't sound like that. It sounded like a sound that came from inside the arena. So if it wasn't that, and it was actually her hair, and to be fair, did you see that mark?
No, that was fucking for real.
That was real. She even pointed it out. She was when she was having her moment in the ring. Sasha's on the floor outside. She just looks at herself like, holy fuck, that hurt. That hurts so bad. That's nuts, man.
Right, I just pulled it up right now. Pause. Dang it. Go back. Let me see. Because the fans fucking react. Hold on.
They went nuts.
Wait, listen for it. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. They're holding. Here it comes. You can hear it!
No, but that's different. No. That's different.
No, but listen to me for a second. The camera view or the camera person from this video is in the fucking nosebleeds, bro.
Oh, wait, what?
This was live. You just heard audio from a live cam, not WWE footage. I have the video right in front of me. Someone uploaded their video.
Oh, then I think that was her actual hair.
Yeah,
then.
But look, listen to the snap again. Watch. This guy's all the way in the nosebleeds. He's zoomed in, and listen for it. Bam! And everyone is jumping, and everyone is jumping up, and everyone is screaming, bro, not piped in. That shit was legit.
Wow.
Let me play it again, because I want everyone to hear it. Bam! You can fucking hear it. Don't tell me
that makes sense. That makes sense. That was so loud if he's all the way back there that the microphone's next to the ring.
That's
that
what I'm
sound
saying.
Exactly like it did.
That guy, the crack you just heard on this show, folks, was from a hand cam. I'll give it to you right now. Hold on. It's on YouTube. It's a hand cam. It's some dude up in the fucking seats. Not even on the floor, bro. In the seats, on the rows. He must be at least 200 level. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks ending and post-match celebration. WWE WrestleMania 37 Live. The uploader is Unpopular Review. That's the name of the guy the username who uploaded it. There's a bunch of these videos online where people were like, oh, they piped in that sound. No, they did not.
Damn.
It's right here.
Which, you know what's funny?
Hold on, I played again. Listen for it. Bam! Motherfucker.
Okay, so you want to, here's my theory. You ready?
Yeah.
The sound of the intro with a whoosh is the sound of her actually doing that with her hair. Because, and no, I'm not kidding, because the reason why it sounded piped in is because the sound sounded exactly like her intro.
Yes. But you know why the intro sounds like that? Because that's the sound of a fucking whip. She whipped someone for real. That's what a fucking whip sounds like.
Hey, listen to me.
If you crack someone with a towel, it sounds like that.
If there was one thing that I definitely feel much better about, because like I've always said, my biggest fear with her is her hair. whatever that thing is tied tight, bro.
Yeah.
They used that hair throughout this entire match and had zero issue, even to the point where that whip left a freaking mark that will forever be on Sasha's body, which will lead to some great feuding later, by the way.
Absolutely. That's the video. I hope they took nice video behind the scenes of her with that fucking thing.
Dude, that was great.
I gotta watch
that
SmackDown to see if they even talked about that.
There was a moment though where she believed that moment when I was telling you about where she jumped off the top. She did the flip off the top and landed, and Sasha kicked out of it. When she rolled out, she's sitting there and she's got the oh my god look on her face, and then she gives you a glimpse with her face, and I know you've seen this. She gives you a glimpse of her face where she goes from like shock that she kicked out to like she wants to kill Sasha. That look on her face, and I was like, oh my god, she would be great as a heel. But I don't know, man. That look, I can't not see it in my head. It looked so intense, and it kind of like, I want to see what she would look like as a heel, man. So
that was night one.
Night one.
And all the energy apparently went out of the building when that match, or when that show was over, because I felt a lot less enthusiasm for people. And this is the con. There's pros and there's cons. This is the con for having a 2-night event.
No.
Because everyone in that building, when I went for night 2, there were people in that building who were there for night 1 who were literally telling me straight up, it doesn't feel the same. I'm not as hyped as I was yesterday. I'm excited.
And
but
you
I'm
know
not
why?
buzzing the way I was yesterday.
But do you know why? Because our talks about night 1 in the very beginning, 180, 100%. When you're overvaluing specific people on your roster, where it's clear that it's not as hot as you think it is, and then you open the night with that. I feel like that's what set the tone for night 2, and it was weird after that.
So let's talk about it. Night 2 opens up, obviously. I was surprised, now that, hindsight being 2020, what they decided to do. I went from surprised to pissed because I'm in the building for this one now, right? So I'm super hyped. I'm just as energetic as probably a few people were the night before, and me and my wife were curious. Who do we start with, right? Who's going to open this show? And I'm not going to lie, opening with Randy's music was nice for me. It's been a while since I've heard this music live, and if you're going to start off with that, I was like, yep. So I took a video of the entrance, and the whole entrance, you hear me and stuff in the background. They tell me things that I will do. They tell me things I'll do to you. They talk to me.
Oh, my God. You can never, dude, I could just sit in an arena by myself and play that.
And it was cool, but it dawned on me when the music was over. Oh no, the Fiend is next, and I was like, "Oh shit, where are we going with this now?" So they did the whole Jack in the Box deal. First of all, Alexa coming out to the Playhouse song, and then all this stuff. I'm like, "All right, you've got me so far," because the entrance is dope. So I'm like, "All right," and then they got rid of the burnt thing, and as soon as they got rid of the burnt outfit,
magically,
yeah, it just that quick is just over with. Now he's not burned anymore, and I'm like, "All right, there we go." You're
completely delete everything.
Whatever it was that we did at Fastlane.
You could have done that the next night, but this is the moment where you should have wrestled with that.
Yeah, and then shifted to something else. But it wasn't even so much that he didn't wrestle in that. I mean, if you're gonna get rid of the burnt outfit, do it either before or after WrestleMania, not as a 5-second GIF video during the course of basically his entrance. And I was like, all right. Okay, continue on. Let's see what's up. And then they did the whole Jack in the Box thing, which was cool. I liked the look of the box and the whole menacing and the din din din. And I was like, all right, but here's the part that killed me. A lot of that song and a lot of that entrance and a lot of that presence is the walk. There's something to that walk, like when Taker walks with the bells and stuff.
Yeah,
something to that walk. He didn't walk anywhere. He's just fucking standing there.
Really, I don't know what this guy's fucking deal is. He does nothing.
Let's
be honest. He's been gone this whole time. He's been doing. I'm literally fucking angry about this because honest to God, I feel like this is what ruined night 2. You do all this bullshit where Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss carries it throughout the entire fucking season.
For like 3 months.
You're fucking nowhere. Then you come back with this somewhat looking thing. Okay, look, you got burnt. Look at you, you're burnt. Then you show up without it. You don't do an actual entrance. You pop up, you're right next to the fucking ring. You get in there, you finish with some bullshit, absolute dog shit, and the match was 5 fucking minutes long with bullshit.
Which I'm not even mad about because the guy can't fucking wrestle anyway.
Listen, no, that's not the point. Don't build me up and then give me nothing. It's like, it just didn't make any sense. And then the ending, she comes out of the box. What the fuck was, everyone's like, oh, she looked cool. What was the fucking point of that?
Well, okay. Well, let's talk, before we get to the black shit on her face and blah, 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 blah. I want to debunk something that I was reading online from a few people on my Facebook. I didn't interact with them. It was just something I saw and it made me think. So I want to debunk something real quick. There were a lot of people that got the impression from watching it at home that the people in the building, and I'll say we, right, because I'm there, right, that we were booing him. We were not booing him.
They were.
No, whoa. When he first started the entrance, he was not booed. That place exploded when the whole thing started. When it went, all that stuff. I know for a fact, behind me and in my section, motherfuckers was going nuts. Here's the problem. The more the entrance took place, like the longer it went, right? And now we've got the box, and now he stands there, and now he jump starts the match, and all this other stuff. The less the cheers got. They didn't turn into boos, but it became less cheering and more, what is happening? Right? I got the overall sense throughout the course of the entire thing, from beginning match to end match to everything, there was more confusion than anything else. That was the overall vibe in the building. Confusion. Why is this happening? What is going on? Why did he jumpstart? Why did he lose to one single RKO? What is Alexa Bliss's situation in this? What is happening? And then, when Randy gets the win, he rolls out, he gets the fuck out of there. Bray gets up, turns to Alexa Bliss, and the fucking lights go out, and when we come back, no one is there. That, my friend, is when the boos rained down. That building was fucking mad. When after all that, we didn't even get a conclusive finish to the fucking story. It was another chapter to another branch to another story that cannot have a conclusion. I was joking. I was very tongue-in-cheek when I said that the match at WrestleMania should be Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss, because they're the ones who had the fucking program.
Right.
Wyatt didn't do anything. Alexa Bliss became a better Bray Wyatt than Bray fucking Wyatt. That's what fucking happened. And apparently the WWE agrees, because now the feud is Bliss versus fucking The Fiend. Now she's got this new friend named Lily, and everything she said on Raw, because remember I told you I was doing my own little commentary, and I was just talking out loud.
Gotcha.
And people were like, why would they do that? Why would she do that? My wife was like, I don't understand. So I pitched an idea. I just said, I think it might be this. And everything I said, word for word and verbatim, is what she said on Raw the next fucking night. That's exactly it. I became more powerful. You were gone for forever. I'm the one that did this. I'm the one that did that. And now I'm going to break you, right? So now it's Bliss versus Fiend. And I don't know if anyone's paying attention to this, but I'll say it out loud. You cannot feud a person. Forget gender. You cannot feud a person with another person and not pay that bitch off. And I knew from the beginning, that's why I made the joke, that it should have been Bliss and Orton at WrestleMania, because that would have been the payoff. As goofy as it sounds, that's the program you created. That's the feud you created. So that's the payoff people are going to fucking expect. And there was no payoff that was going to make anyone happy, because you can't do Bliss and Orton for real. So there's no payoff coming to this feud, right? There's no payoff coming. It's not. It cannot happen. It's designed to fail. And then it does. And the way that you choose to end it is by giving us another program that cannot have a payoff. Bliss and the Fiend cannot have a fucking match to determine who will truly be the darker entity of WWE. It cannot happen.
She can if she starts possessing people.
But that's what I'm fucking saying. Now all of a sudden, and who's this Lily individual now, right?
Ooh, is that when we get the real match? When Alexa Bliss possesses Randy Orton? And now they feud again.
And then they feud again. Like, what the fuck are we talking? They keep they keep bottling themselves into these situations. They cannot.
I'm gonna keep it a bean with you though. I would love to see that. Not with the Fiend, with someone else, but I would love to see Alexa Bliss be a puppeteer to Randy Orton.
I actually said in the building, I said, to be honest with you, I would have had a much better time watching Bliss and Orton fight at WrestleMania than the match that I got. And that's a shoot. That's for real. I'm not here to disrespect Bray Wyatt at all.
I'm sick of it.
Wait. No, I'm talking about as a person.
Oh,
as a person, he's got a great lineage, right? His dad was IRS, Mike Rotundo, fantastic wrestling family. His brother is extremely talented, although his brother was one of the ones released, and we'll talk about that at the end. He comes from a great family or whatever. I mean, his personal choices are his personal choices. His life is his life. I'm not in charge of that. But he's a good fucking dude, and you know what? Not for nothing. For all the times that I tell people in the indies, you need to be more creative, he tries. Okay?
He does.
He tries.
Because of a phenomenal
he
gimmick.
is fighting a tide here. He cannot win. With his ideas and what he wants to do, and then the writing staff and Vince McMahon, they're not on the same page. They're all trying to do different things. None of the things connect. And to take a character like that, I just gave you guys a description of what it was in the building. We started with cheers. We had a middle section of confusion, and it ended in boos. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. That's how that character is being presented, and I can't defend it anymore. I defended the character after Hell in a Cell. I defended that character on multiple occasions, and Booker T, we're back to Booker T again, said some things the other day. As a matter of fact, it was following up WrestleMania. He did a recap show, and I'm sorry, Booker, I got to disagree with you, because he was saying on his show that when it comes to a character like The Fiend, wins and losses really shouldn't matter. Well, you should tell that to the WWE then, not to us. Don't tell the fans that. The fans have to go based on what the presentation is. If wins and losses don't matter to The Fiend, you should have never gave him a world title. As soon as he became a champion, guess what? They started to matter. Right. And if he was going to spend his time winning matches left and right and only losing the big ones, I can see that. When Freddy Krueger went through all of Elm Street, he killed a few fucking kids before he was stopped. And even when he was stopped, he wasn't really stopped. Bray's never fucking around. He doesn't beat anybody, ever.
He doesn't wrestle. Forget beating anybody. He's not wrestling.
If Freddy Krueger spent the whole time going into kids' dreams and getting his ass kicked, by the end of the film, there'd be more annoyance than fear. Why do you keep coming around? I keep beating your ass. Every time I go to sleep, I fuck you up. What are you doing here? Get away from me. Same thing here. There's nothing menacing. There's nothing fearful. There's nothing about this that is intriguing as a story when the main person you're trying to get over as a menace can't fucking do it. And I don't know if it's him, or I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's the scenario. Writing. Because as a presentation, his character is money. But they're not putting him in money situations at all. His feud with Braun Strowman was a mess. He loses the championship to Goldberg for no reason. Because, again, he should have never had it in the fucking first place. And then we get to this feud where he's not even a part of the feud.
No.
And then loses the feud to one fucking maneuver. He spent the whole match no selling everything and then got dropped by one RKO.
By one.
One. Yeah. By surprise. And by the way, folks, for those of you who didn't get a chance to see, it wasn't like Alexa Bliss interfered, fucked him over, and then he got dropped by an RKO. No, Bliss pointed to him, and that was enough of a distraction for him to get dropped with one maneuver that he didn't even fucking sell, because he got dropped and then he got up to face off with Bliss. This went nowhere. It did nothing. And I actually believe in my heart it hurt Randy.
I said this was going to be trash. No, fuck that. Randy's a god.
No, I actually think it hurt. And here's why. This was the best I've ever seen Randy Orton on the mic. He sold everything about this program as hard as a human being can possibly fucking sell it. He took a fireball to the face. He wore a stinky-ass lucha mask for like 2 fucking weeks. This guy actually got booked in a match against Alexa Bliss at Fastlane. He's been walking around on national television coughing up black goo for no fucking reason.
He's been killing it. Dude.
He did everything but resurrect the dead to get this fucking program as over as humanly fucking possible.
Well, he killed someone and they came back.
Yeah, he lit a man on fucking fire.
He killed a man on live TV.
He committed actual arson and murder on fucking television.
I love how we just step over shit like that. Like he didn't just murder somebody.
He murdered a human being on live television, and then
that's funny.
That wasn't the end of it.
No,
burning the man to death did not end the feud. An RKO out of nowhere is what ended the fucking program. Fuck you. Fuck everything about this. Fuck everything. When I was in that building, bro, let me tell you, all the merch in that building was The Fiend. All of it. The masks, the gloves, the shirts, somebody had the belt when they had that leather belt for sale or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. The merch, there is interest there. People want to love this character. They're doing everything in their power to ensure that you don't.
Him back.
Them.
Something is holding them back.
It's fucking them.
I believe it's them too.
They don't.
I don't know
how to present it. They don't, because they are of the impression. And this is where I don't think this is a Vince issue. I think this is a writing staff issue, because the same guy who booked and promoted The Undertaker for 30 years, you're telling me he can't figure out how to put a program together for a character like The Fiend? I call bullshit. I think there's 1,000,001 young guys who have no clue what they're doing in his ear telling him, hey, don't be that old senile guy. This is the way of the world now. This is the way wrestling goes now. We got to do this. Never before. And that's not just me, folks. There are people who own their own podcasts who are saying right now as we speak that there are things being promoted, things being done on Raw, SmackDown, on WrestleMania that just passed. They never thought they would ever see on those programs because Vince would have never allowed it. And now we're at Chris Jericho. We're not going to talk about it today. But Chris Jericho doing the Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network.
I still got to watch that.
And I mean, things like that. Things that Vince would have never, in a million fucking years, would have allowed are all happening right now. And I know people are going to say, well, Vince approves everything, so it's all Vince's fault. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know. Is this proof that he's starting to let go a little bit?
And I think it's evidence of two things, actually. Not just that he's starting to let go a little bit, but we're in fucking trouble. Because of the people that are finally convincing him of this shit. Right? Because, yeah, he makes the final decision, but you've got to make the pitch. You've got to make the sell. Yeah. Someone came to him and said, this is going to be fucking fantastic. They're going to fucking love this. If there's no Vince to buffer, and this is the shit being pitched, we're in fucking trouble. And for the first time in my life, this all happened in real time, folks. I'm in the building. Remember, I'm in the building. When that match was over, my idea about the sell of WWE, as in selling it, of the McMahons finally giving it up and selling, I'm finally in favor. Get it away from these people, because Jesus fucking Christ. Get it away. Shane clearly has no real intention to do anything with it. Stephanie probably has no clue what to do with it. And the only person who probably could do great things with it doesn't really have the power to do that, and that would be Triple H. And that's it.
That's an assumption. If you don't know any of that stuff,
that's fine. That's fine. We'll claim it as an assumption. Call it a gut feeling, okay? But there are other people who are in the know who are saying very, very similar things.
Right.
Because there's There's just too many people who know the man himself who are sitting here saying, never in a million years would they have ever. I know people are going to think, oh, he's been listening to Cornette. Nope. Bruce Pritchard has his own podcast, but works in WWE right now and is on his show telling people, yeah, there's stuff being pitched to Vince that Vince would have laughed in your face years ago for pitching that.
Right.
And he's seriously considering these things now. And he's writing promos for people that.
Well, that just means that he's starting to earn Triple H's trust, or whoever's pitching it to.
But I think that's an indictment. I think that's a negative thing, because again, if this is this, he's starting to trust other people. If this is the stuff that they're pitching to him, he's trusting the wrong people.
Look, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to go that far. The reason why is because this is a standout error. Like, this is really bad. This is isolated. Yeah, you have some good stuff.
But it's becoming a continuous theme with this character.
Terrible.
Yeah. No, but it's becoming, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. But this has been a running issue with this character from the fucking start.
Okay, that's fine, this character, but it's not spreading through the roster yet, because I
beg to differ on that one as well. I see a lot of people who are extremely talented. They have no fucking clue how to get pros more than cons out of a lot of these people. There's a lot of standouts.
Right. We have good talent.
They probably have more talent now than they've ever had as a collective.
I honestly was going to say that.
Yeah, as a collective, yes.
The most talented groups that I've personally seen.
But that's the part that kills me, because if you look back, I've been killed on a few occasions for saying this, but I think it's the truth. To me, the Attitude Era is one of the most overrated eras in the history of the business, because it ran on a lot of great talent on top, but that middle section and that bottom section really was nothing much to write home about. Okay, but at the time, I mean, you've got Pat Patterson, you've got a prime Vince McMahon, you've got Sergeant Slaughter, you've got Briscoe, you've got Tony Gurria, you've got Michael Hayes, you've got a long
list. And the most important thing of all they had that this era does not have, and that's being free of handcuffs. They did so many things. It's hard to not look at an era that had so many firsts and so many crazy things that you couldn't even if you paid, get away with anymore. You just cannot do it. So for this group of people to have so many restrictions but still be able to put on an entertaining show means a lot to me.
Back in those days, they had so many great minds. They were able to get the most out of the people that they had. And they don't have that anymore. It's the opposite now. They have more talent than they've ever had before, and no one at the helm who can keep this ship running straight and steady. It's all over the place. We'll go to the next match because we spent a lot of time on this one, but it's more of the same. Because I'm surprised, folks. I was teasing this at the beginning of the podcast because David was like, "Yo, night 1 was way better than night 2." Guess what? He's right. And I was there for night 2. And I think my experience...
Well, that actually surprised me that you said that.
Yes, my experience at night 2 probably made
it better.
The card more enjoyable. If I would have been watching this at home, I don't know if I would have been as invested. And I'll take you to the next match because we're going to spend literally 2 seconds on this motherfucker.
So, and I'm glad you said that because when that 1, 2, 3 hit, and let me tell you something, my wife loves her some Randy Orton. She fucks with him heavy. Like she intro, everything. She loves it. 1, 2, 3, she got up from the couch, walked away and said lame really loud and went and took a bath and didn't come back until the match after this. God bless you, because you probably wouldn't have watched the rest. So go ahead.
Lame, and then left the phone.
It just left. She was like, I don't even know if I want to watch this anymore. That was so bad. And that's someone who doesn't even like see it from a different perspective. Like they just see for what it is. She just sees for what it is. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't have storyline in her brain. She's just kind of watching it or whatever. So this next one wasn't nothing to write home about either.
No. And that's why we're probably only going to spend a few minutes on it at best. And this was the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The winners from night 1, which were Natalya, as we mentioned earlier. It was Natalya and Tamina. to go in the ring with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler
Right.
in the building. Again, this is where the experience of it probably plays more of a role. We had fun making fun of this match. I mean, not just me and my wife, but like the whole section. Like this is when the section bonded in this match. Right
We
here.
became a family.
We became a family on this one because we would just because my wife was really accrediting the lack of mistakes in the show from night one, and then how it had continued in night two. We can talk a lot about how shitty Randy Orton and The Fiend was, but they didn't make too many quote-unquote physical mistakes. This match...
Well, 5-minute match is not
5
really
minutes match does not leave you much room for error, but this match was 3 times as long, and it felt like it. This was actually, on that I'm looking at it, and it felt like it, the second longest match of the fucking night. And I don't understand why the fuck...
By a whole minute. Feels like an eternity.
Yeah, it felt like a fucking eternity for real. Yeah. It felt like fucking forever. And it felt like it in the building, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm looking at how long it was. I was like, Jesus Christ. Not much to this match. Tamina fucked up a lot. Natalya tried to cover as much as she could. Shayna was being stiff as fuck, and Nia Jax was Nia Jax. You got anything else?
No. When I saw the Riot Squad get pinned and lose that match, I knew Nia and Shayna were going to retain the titles.
Yeah.
And that's what broke my heart because new season, new era. I don't like the belt on these two. I never have. Yeah. I think they're an interesting tag team. They're great. They do whatever they like. I don't have any negativity towards their ability, whatever people want to say about Nia or Shayna as wrestlers. They don't bother me at all. I don't mind seeing them on TV. I don't like the stupid little gimmick things they do with Nia. I think it's like insulting. Some of the things that they have her do, like the people they feud with, the matches she's lost to certain people. Like, I think it's just really weird what they're doing with her specifically, but I don't have any problem with these two. I just don't like them together. I don't like it together. I don't like what I'm seeing. They don't even look like they want to be together.
Yeah.
Their whole gimmicks just bump heads. Like there's no, they don't, it's not entertaining to watch when they don't even want to fucking be together. And I don't know if that's a personal thing or a gimmick thing, but either way, it's not fun to watch. So
I think it's a gimmick thing, but either way, it still plays.
Exactly.
It plays so well that it feels.
It's just like nasty. It's not fun to watch. And the Riot Squad, I don't know too much about them, and I'm very interested because I loved what I saw in that match. So I was really hoping that someone new would have gotten the belts, and we would have, because I said it during the podcast, like, let them drop the belts here. Let them have a feud. Let them fight each other. That, I think, is so much better for Nia instead of doing these little stupid, like, I don't know, funny things, because they're not serious with the people that she's been feuding with on her own, oddly enough, which is weird. And Shayna's just kind of there. Have these two fight each other. That would be so far more entertaining. A powerhouse, and then they're both powerhouses. I think that match would be great. But for whatever reason, they're sticking them together. And I don't know what they see in this. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I was really hoping someone else would have got the titles and we would have gotten something different with these two. But I guess they just plan on continuing on, because if you're not going to lose it here, then what's the point?
I have no. They're just going to.
This is the best way to springboard a new tag team. This is the stage to do it. Where are you going to do it on, like a SmackDown? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So whatever.
It was done and over with, and then we move on to the next match.
Dude, we're already 2 matches in, and it's fucking depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Like, it's not even like...
And it's gonna get worse.
Cesaro, so far, if Cesaro's match was here, their match of the night, so far.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Beautiful transition, because this next matchup, the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match with special, I don't even know what to fucking call him because he just sat there, fucking Logan Paul for no reason. This was, and I know people, no, don't say that, AJ. Of all the WrestleMania matches, night 1, night 2, this was the most disappointed I was in the entire fucking night. I was so disappointed. so disappointed in this.
Elaborate, because honestly,
disappointed.
like again, I'm gonna just say my piece really quick because it's super short. But I really do want you to elaborate on that because you know Kevin and Sammy, you know the history, you know how they wrestle, you know previous matches and everything that they've had. So my quick input is everyone knows how I feel about Owens. It is what it is. Sammy, I think, is great, but I don't like the gimmick. So this, to me, I wasn't expecting anything. So what I saw, I was like, you know what?
This is what you expected.
Not bad. Like, yeah, right? Like, it's what I expected. So for me, good match. Like, it was whatever. Like, they did.
What happened?
I wasn't upset. So now you give the real in-depth, because that's what I thought, but you have way more history with
this. This was the Cesaro-Rollins match of night 2. And that's why I thought when you mentioned Cesaro just now, I was like, perfect, because that's going to transition exactly what I'm going to talk about. It wasn't anything crazy. This match could have happened on Monday Night Raw. I wouldn't have blinked an eye. And that's where I get so disappointed because I don't know if they had their time cut. I don't know, because according to this, they were only out there for
10 minutes.
About 10 minutes, which is fine. I mean, you could do a lot of shit in 10 minutes. But the fear that you had of Rollins with the gimmick getting in the way.
Right.
I remember
I said it for Sammy too.
You did say it for Sammy too, and this is where it happened.
Right.
This is where they lost me because I gave them credit on the roundtable by saying I'm glad you didn't rest on your laurels. I'm glad you didn't stick to the whole, hey, we've been fighting forever bullshit. You threw some new shit in there. Freshen up the rivalry. I get it. I appreciated that.
Right.
On the build, I appreciated that. On the execution, I expected way more from all of these guys. And I know they got 10 minutes, and there's a bunch of shit coming up that requires a little bit more physicality or whatever.
10 minutes with a celebrity in there. So, like,
10
3
minutes for
or
the
4
celebrity
minutes
in there.
is gone.
I appreciated the entrances, first and foremost, because I felt like every wrestler that came out on night 2, I felt like night 1 had all the emotion.
Right.
And like when Randy Orton came out to start the show, I felt that because he had missed the fans and he gave us a little bit of that. But Fiend no soul, the ladies no soul. Kevin came out full of piss and vinegar, right? He comes through the curtain and he's fucking feeling it. Audience was behind Kevin 100%. And the match opens up, pop up powerbomb, boom. I'm like, oh, we off and running. I'm hyped. And then fucking cruise control, and I went, oh no, what is this? What happened here? What was the discussion? What is going on? They both pride themselves on being very good storytellers, and to be fair, they are. But I felt like, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like this was the beginning of something, not a WrestleMania moment. I felt like they were going to, at least I hoped. I was like, there's got to be more to this program than just this match because it was very Sammy heavy. Kevin got his shit in, but that's where the gimmick for Sammy came in, and it was, in my opinion, it was a hindrance. This whole, the chicken shit heel thing that he's been trying to get over, and I get it. I actually, unlike you, I actually do like the gimmick. I just didn't feel like we needed that much gimmick here. Not in this moment, especially since I knew the ending. I knew the ending was going to be Logan Paul getting physical. I didn't think he'd eat a stunner and that'd be it. Because with the whole boxing thing he's got going on and the whole celebrity status, I didn't think he'd let a wrestler just drop him and leave. But that's what he did. So I gave Bad Bunny credit on night 1 for being respectful of the business.
And this made Bad Bunny even better.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and give Logan Paul his credit. He didn't go out there and do a whole bunch of talking and boring people to death. He showed his face. He waved his little hand. He played the storyline up a little bit. He ate a stunner and got the babyface over. Didn't do much, but he didn't do anything bad, so credit to him. Yeah. Kevin did his best to be a fucking babyface. You're not a fucking babyface.
No, his face isn't a baby face.
No, there's nothing about
I don't even think I've ever seen that human smile.
And the consensus throughout the crowd, even from my section, when we would go get drinks, whatever the case may be, we've said it on the show. I now have, it's not just my opinion anymore. It's official throughout many fans that I spoke to, Kevin. Many fans that I spoke to. It's a big building. You meet a lot of wrestling fans at WrestleMania, okay? The stunner has to go. Get rid of the fucking Stone Cold
It's not
Stunner.
gonna go.
It does not do anything for you. Nothing. No one sees you as any bigger of a star because you're doing Stone Cold's move. Stop it. Stop it. Get rid of it. Even if you don't want to utilize the pop-up powerbomb, fine. There's one section in this match where I finally popped humongously for, because it's the first time that he teased it where I actually bought in. And I was like, oh, and I said it out loud. I remember getting so excited I shook the shit out of my wife. I grabbed her by the shoulder and I was like, if there was ever, I screamed it at the top of my lungs for the whole section to hear. If there was ever a fucking time to fucking do it, now is the time, because he was setting up for it. And I said, please. And I now realize why I should stop biting into it, because it's not going to happen. And I know I'm speaking vague, but every WrestleMania, Kevin Owens teases the package pile driver. That was his move in the Indies. It was his move in Ring of Honor. They did not allow him to do it in the WWE. It's kind of a dangerous move. The one where you put him in the pile driver position, you hook behind the arms and behind the kneecap, you pull up and you pile drive, right? They don't let him do it in WWE. That's why he was using the pop-up powerbomb, and now he's using the stunner. Every WrestleMania, though, he teases it. Every single WrestleMania. Can he do it? Will he do it? And the guy fights out. When he grabbed Sammy, I said, hold the fucking phone.
This what happened.
I said, for this match, for these circumstances, it's Sami Zayn, it's WrestleMania, it's the return of the fans.
He's gotten the move before. He knows how to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of comfort level, all this stuff. I said, man, and I screamed it. If there was ever a fucking time to do it, this would be it. And they didn't do it. And at first, I was like, oh, Jesus. But then I got the vibe from everybody in my section. They didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I was like, the package pile driver. And they're like, I don't know. And I went, you know what? Never mind then. Because it would be a waste to do that in front of a bunch of people who don't know what the significance of it. Like, and I'm not calling them dumb. I'm saying maybe it's smart.
Don't know, that's all.
They just don't know. Right. So maybe it is smart that they don't even bother with it. No sense in damn near crippling a guy if it's not going to get the response you want. So I was like, all right, fine. So I guess they should have pulled the trigger on that sooner then. Maybe just have that be his Mania finisher. I don't know. But yeah, no, this match was a match. That was it. And I expected more, and I was a little disappointed on that match. I do like the fact that they didn't divulge too much in the past, but at the same time, had they, I think there would have been more emotion.
Nah, I don't think it would have changed anything.
I don't think so. This next match, however, I have to be honest with you folks. Now, you know how I feel about Matt Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
I feel about Matt Riddle.
Oh, you're the one saying it now.
yeah, I was just gonna say how you feel about Ambrose and how you feel about Owens and how you've okay. That's me with Riddle. I'm not a big Riddle guy. I've said it 1,000 times on the show. I don't get it, right? So as soon as that match was next, I'm gonna be honest with you, I left. I went to go pee. I went to go re-up my cup because we got one of those refillable cups. I need new Sprite. Right? I got snacks. There was a popcorn box that was purchased. Shit got done, right? I got the errands ran.
There you go.
I get all my stuff, right? I've got 2 masks on, by the way, because they gave you a mask. They gave
double bagged?
I double bagged my face because they give you a mask when you walk in, but I came with a mask. So I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to double up. So I got everything going on. I'm walking back to my seat. As I sit down in my seat, I look up at the screen because, I forgot to mention to people, I'm on the floor, right? I had a floor seat. So I look up at the screen, and as soon as I look up at the screen, this is exactly how the timing went. I'm not even lying. As soon as the first entrance hit, I left. I come back to the seat. I put my snack down. I look up at the screen, and the minute I look up at the screen, Matt Riddle does a moonsault and gets bro kicked in the fucking face, and the fucking match is over. And I went, what the fuck just happened?
You saw the best of it. You're good.
And my wife said, you missed the whole match. I said, man, that's all I needed to see.
That's all. Match of the night.
Match of the night. I paid good money to come to this show, and if nothing else happens, if it starts raining right now and they got to cancel the show, I got my money's worth. I don't even want a refund. I'm sending them a thank you note. I saw, and I'm joking around, but you know what? All credit in the world to both of those guys to pull off the timing for that kick. Because in order for it to look right, he had to really hit him. If you notice, he got his mouth busted. He hit him for real in the face.
Right. No, he kicked the fuck out.
He had to throw it.
But that's the only way to do it.
That's the only way to do it. And Riddle took it like a champ, and my wife was like, he's probably going to get pissed when he goes to the back. Are you kidding me?
No.
He just had a WrestleMania moment. He just had his WrestleMania moment. That was it. They must have replayed in the building. They must have replayed that fucking kick from so many different angles. And in slow-mo. I've never been harder in my life. I was enjoying I was enjoying the pure destruction of Matt Riddle's face for forever. So I just want to put that out there that I didn't actually see this match because I refused to fucking watch it. But did you see this match? Was it a decent match? There you go.
It was decent. No, it wasn't bad. It was a decent match, but like, I don't know. I feel like the reason why I feel that way is because I think Matt Riddle's awesome. He's very entertaining, regardless of like whatever the case may be. I find him entertaining, so that's why I really like him. I'm not really a big Sheamus guy, but he has been impressing me lately. Just kind of, I don't know. I just like the energy he's on. Like, fuck people up. I'm tired of people. Whatever. Like, he's just beating people's ass right now, and I really like that. So all in all, like I said, it was one of those. I think it was a Seth Rollins Cesaro match, but better.
There you go.
Like, it was a better, like, it was, there was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't gonna blow your mind, but
it was gonna blow your mind, but it was there. It was
well, I think a lot of that is credited to because I honestly I feel like that match, if everyone was at their peak potential and had the greatest, if every single one of these guys had the match of their lives in these matches in this whole card, that Riddle Sheamus should have been the bottom two or three. And that's not saying that, you know, what I mean? Like,
right.
If everyone had the greatest potential match that they could, I would imagine Sheamus and Riddle to be at the bottom of that list, whether it be 2 or 3 or 1. But because everything was fucking bombing, it made this mismatch feel so much better than I think it may have, you know, really been to other people. But all in all, solid match. They did their thing and they had a really nice finish. So what more can you ask for this booking right here?
Well, the more I can ask for as far as booking goes is not to have this next match exist.
Yeah, well,
that's what I could ask for. I'll ask. They probably will ignore the request. But
I'm not going to lie to you. This does nothing but just hurt Big E. I was not interested.
You said it at the round table. This is lose-lose. Somebody has to lose this, and it's going to hurt. Regardless.
It just doesn't make sense. The whole type of match was weird. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't get my eyes on much of this. That was my bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I got snacks, and I invaded almost the entire match. It was only 6 minutes long.
6 minutes
long.
So
I used the bathroom. I got snacks, and
got you done.
The difference between my getting snacks and using the restroom and your getting the snacks and using the restroom is that you had to travel quite a ways.
Yeah.
My shit was right next to the TV. And as I walked by the TV from the bathroom to the kitchen, I steered my head away so that I couldn't catch a glimpse of the trash that was on my screen.
Yes. So here's one of the cool parts about this, okay? This is where the word disappointment is a tough word, right? Because I wasn't really disappointed by a lot of the stuff that I saw on this show, right? I expected more from people, and and I don't think it lived up to my own hype, right? It's a whole personal bias thing.
Gotcha.
The build-up for this particular match, I did one of those things where I explained to other people why they should be hyped in the match, and then in that process, I then in turn get hyped for the match. So I loved the idea that Big E was in his hometown, right? Where he was born there, he was raised there, went to school there, won a state championship in wrestling, and was a power lifter and all this stuff. Had amazing athletic accomplishments in that city, and then he becomes a professional wrestler and he gets signed to WWE. And the first thing they do is they send him to Deep South Wrestling, which was located in Tampa. Right, so now he's beginning his wrestling career in Tampa. becomes the NXT champion, and does all this stuff, debuts and becomes part of the New Day and has this whole run. And now the biggest moment of his singles career as the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania with fans is in Tampa, right? So I'm like, this is all great stuff.
Everything's lining up.
Everything is lining up perfectly. No New Day in his entrance, which I thought was important.
Yes and no. Let me stop you there because
Okay.
this is one of my biggest issues. It's because when I see Big E, I still see New Day just by himself. He has a New Day aura, and it doesn't help when he does shit like he did in night one. If you do not allow me to separate the two, I don't care what clothes you're wearing. You're Big E from the New Day, and he will never have a successful singles if he doesn't allow himself. It doesn't even have to be in the way that they don't want it. Just walk away from it. You guys can high five and everything. That's fine. Do it in the back. I have a very big problem separating them because that's all that I keep seeing.
Because they're not. You're having a hard time separating them because they're not separate.
Exactly. And if that's the case, then
together.
I'm not buying into it. This is not Big E. You're Big E from the New Day. And I don't know, it ruins it for me. I can't take him seriously when he tries to go into the serious Big E talking promos when all I can see when you're doing that is rainbows and trumpets behind you. I just can't do it.
Just the night before, you were on stage with the
yes, exactly.
And then now you're out here with Wale and all this other stuff, which is great. It was great to see live, but like I said in the building, if I was at home, I would hate this because I just saw him yesterday with doing the whole Tampa deal, and
you can't be two people, man. You can't.
Yeah, there's no consistency in what you're trying to get over here,
and that's what's
but see, the entrance and all that stuff is the least of their fucking worries when it comes to this situation. So we do the big entrance, right? He gets the pyro, he's got the big heroes welcome and the whole deal and the whole and it was dope. It was dope to see Wale live. It was the vibe in the building was cool. My wife made a very good point during the promo package, and it made me nervous when she made the point. And I went, oh no, because normally it's kind of a wrestling cliche now, but normally in wrestling, when you do, and this person's from this place, the hometown thing, the hometown crowd goes nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did the whole promo package, and in the package, he goes, WrestleMania this year is taking place in my city, in my town, in my home of Tampa, Florida. And there were people who went nuts when he said Tampa, but not a whole lot.
Right. He's not over.
No, not so much over. My wife made a very good point. She said, how many people do you really think are here that are from Tampa? And it got me curious. And every chance that I got, I'm like, hey, are you from here? Are you from here? No, I couldn't bump into a single Tampa resident. That's couldn't. Weird. I was asking. I was like, well, it's WrestleMania.
I get
people
that.
From all over the world.
I guess the restriction of people made it so that the hardcore were going to get those tickets.
A lot of hardcore fans went to this show, and it made me nervous because I went, oh no, because they were probably banking on the reaction of this finish to be really, really nuts because the hometown guy would lose. So they were expecting, okay, when Apollo goes over, they're going to fucking give him all kinds of heat because he beat the hometown guy. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And then that's not what killed this match, and I think we said it on the round table, Nigerian jump fight. And I made the joke. What is it? Is it like a Queensberry rules match where it's just kind of, and the answer to the question now is yes, it very much is like a Queensberry rules match. They brought out Nigerian drums and then never touched them again. They just fucking sat there. That's it. There were people in the crowd when the package was going on. Oh, because people were coming through the staging.
Right.
So we were like, oh, they're going to have like Nigerian drummers, and they're going to have like this royal thing, and there's going to be people drumming while they have their match, like an old, like somebody brought up a good comparison. Like, remember in Black Panther when T'Challa and M'Baku were having that fight over leadership?
Right,
and there were
right.
people like in the background while they were doing shit. That's what people were anticipating was going to happen. Like, oh, this is gonna be like this big thing. Like they were expecting this.
They should have did that. This would have been a great opportunity to do like one of those like out in the street shit with the people crowning them, like you said, with everyone
with the campaign
around them,
restrictions,
like fucking playing the drums and shit, like you were saying, with them fighting like out in the street. That'd be pretty sick.
A lot of people that were very like their hopes were extremely high for this, and they were like, oh, because remember, folks, we're riding the wave of yesterday. 2 African American women main evented WrestleMania.
Right.
And now here are 2 African American males competing for the Intercontinental Championship. That's also never happened.
With the theme of the match.
With the gimmick, exactly. You can't get more African than this fucking match.
Right,
it's impossible to get more African than this.
Yeah.
And they didn't do a fucking thing with it. And I don't know if you could hear
Missed
it.
Opportunity.
I don't know if you could hear it on TV because I haven't watched this match back for obvious reasons. I don't know if you could hear it on TV. The match opened up with them attacking each other with kendo sticks. Just back and forth. Crack, 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 crack. Right then, this is the first spot of the night. They started booing. It's like, what the fuck is this? I didn't even get a chance to explain this, but just really quickly because I think it fits to this for this match. Pods, right? Everyone heard about the seating being in pods. Pods basically, like for instance, in my row, we had the last 3 seats on the row, and then the 4 seats next to us were zip tied. And then there was 4 seats, and then zip tied, and then 4 seats, and then yada, 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 depending on how the tickets were sold, right? So there was a guy who was in front of us who came to WrestleMania. He bought a floor seat. He was by himself. He was chilling. Now, he was talking to us, but he came by himself. It was 1 seat, and then he had 3 seats on each side of him that was zip tied. And it was staggered. So the other row, like the row in front of him, doesn't have anybody in front of him, but next to him. It's weird. But there was a young black guy and his son who came to WrestleMania. He actually helped us out on a few photos. The photos I sent you was the ones that the guy took. He was there with his young son, and they were extremely hyped for that match in particular. He goes, I got to show my son 2 strong black women yesterday, and I'm excited because I get to show my son 2 strong black men today. And when that match was over, he was mad as fuck. He was angry as shit.
Damn.
He was like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. They brought a table out. It was every bullshit no disqualification match they have all the time. It was nothing Nigerian or whatever the fuck about it. And like you said, 6 minutes, and then the babyface lost in his hometown.
Right.
And it was like, all right, that's it. That's that.
It's weird.
That's that. And so you didn't even see the match, so fuck it.
No.
We'll move on.
I'm going to watch it because I want to watch it all back again.
Well, don't worry. That match will take you 6 minutes to watch. It won't take up too much of your life.
Be quick.
That's
and
it.
easy.
Quick and easy and to the point. I loved the presentation leading up to it. I loved everything about it until it happened. And then I was like, all right, I'm about done. And then that leads us, we got 2 matches left here. And you want to talk about excitement.
Yeah.
Right? Now, by the second night, like I said, I felt like a lot of the energy in general from people who were in the building for night 2. A lot of people who were there for night 2 who happened to also be there night 1. I spoke to a few people in the building who had done both nights. Not as energetic.
And it has nothing to do with the night, though. We just went down the card, and I'm ready to go to bed.
But a lot of these people that I spoke to before the show even started, bro.
Right.
So it wasn't about the matches at that point. They were just blown up from the night before.
Right.
A lot of them were still telling me the Sasha Bianca match fucked me up.
Right.
Like I'm still feeling it. I'm on that ride. Now, the one person who told me that, that Bianca, blah, 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 right? We got this next match, Rhea Ripley and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And that same dude who told me, yeah, I'm on this ride, I'm riding it, and it was a great match, he has thoroughly been unimpressed with this entire night. So now we get to this match. He leans over to me and he goes, man, if this fucking match doesn't do it for me, I'm out. And I was like, all right. I was like, all right, brother, let's see what's going on. I told him, I said, no. I told him in full confidence. I said, there's no way this match won't get you. There's no way. It's impossible. Impossible. These 2 can't miss. Rhea Ripley and Asuka. What did you think of this match?
Oh, you gonna do me like that?
That's
you
right.
gonna fucking?
That's right.
You're gonna click? Oh my god! All right, well I'll put my input in here.
There you go.
Sasha and Belair kind of ruined it. Not that it was a bad match. It's not that it was a bad match. It was a good match. Like I don't know, man. I don't know why.
Nope. And that's why I let you go first, because that's how we all felt.
It was a good match. Now
they had a good match. They didn't do anything ridiculous. They got creative in a few spots, but the crowd was not feeling this. And the guy in front of me, he wasn't upset. He said, "If this match sucks, I'm out." He didn't leave. He didn't think it sucked. He just leaned over and goes, "That was no Sasha Bianca, brother." I was like, I'm concurring. And this is coming from a guy who, remember I told you my favorite wrestler versus Alex's favorite wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm. How did he act?
By the time it got to Asuka, he didn't give a fuck. He was out. He was done. He was done.
Oh,
he was on he was on my wife's phone watching My Singing Monsters or whatever the fuck he was watching, and I said, look, it's Asuka time. And he went, "Oh, okay." And that was it.
He's burnt.
He was burnt.
Yeah.
But I this is another situation.
Maybe the Sasha Bianca got to him too.
He didn't see Sasha Bianca. He was asleep.
No. But he felt it.
He woke up. He felt the spirits.
He felt it.
I expected. This is another match, and this is the theme, and this is why I tipped my hat to night one, because it wasn't like these matches were really bad. I just expected more. I don't know why. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte last year was, to me, the best match of that entire fucking card, and that's saying something because no one was in the building. And this match, I'm like, all right, Asuka's kind of like Charlotte. We can figure this out. And Rhea Ripley's going to look good. She's better than she was a year ago. And they did. And remember I told you when I was watching the matches, I kept making the mistake of calling things and talking to myself. The one thing that I kept saying out loud, and my wife was saying it almost simultaneously, that's how much she knows wrestling at this point by now. Slow down. We kept screaming, like almost like, because I was like, maybe we're close enough. Maybe Asuka could hear us. Slow down, because the start of that match, Asuka just started fucking running, and I was like, bro.
I think that was the problem. I think the problem was that Rhea was just slow.
Yeah, Rhea was slow, and Rhea had it in her head. I could tell early on. Someone got into Rhea's head and said, "Take your time," because Asuka shot out of a fucking cannon.
She didn't match the energy.
And she didn't match the energy.
But she could still move slow and match the intensity.
But that's she can. But it was appeared.
But she didn't.
It appeared to me, not that she just didn't. She had no intention to. It was purposely. This is what the tempo was going to be in her head. And Asuka tried to spark it from the start.
It's like Asuka was trying to get something out of Rhea, but Rhea just did not didn't care to do it.
She had no intention of starting that match off at a high speed. None. And that's why I kept screaming, "Slow down." Because if your opponent is purposely gonna go out of their way to only go but a certain pace, you need to work him into that. As soon and she did that one spot when they did run, and then it was like a double down there, and they just kind of stared at each other. I think that was when Asuka realized, okay, you're not going to do a whole lot of that. Okay, so let's do this instead. And like I said, if you look back at the match, they got creative, did some really cool stuff. The one word that is attached to this match that was not attached to Sasha and Bianca is lack of energy. This match didn't have any energy. There was no urgency to anything. It was a match.
Energy, and then the other word that I was actually thinking of, and it's weird because it's not. It's one of those things like you don't really notice it until you notice it. They had no chemistry.
Yeah, none.
There was none of it. Felt like one person was doing something else, and then like one person was doing one thing, another person was doing something else, and one was not even trying to get on the same page. The other one was trying to get on the same page, and it's just kind of like
There was a lot of confusion.
It's a negative things. I think it was all in all a relatively decent match, but we could have gotten so much. But
that's why I think people give them the benefit of the doubt because the stuff that they did hit was amazing.
Right.
It's just to get there, it was a process. There was a lot of confusion, especially in the beginning of this match. They just did not seem like they were on the same page about anything at all.
Yeah, there was no interest, and honestly, I didn't feel it from Asuka. I felt it from Rhea. Like the entrance was all she wanted, and then after that, she could have very well just walked away.
I loved being there live for that entrance. That was awesome.
Although a little disappointed that the live singer didn't do the "This is my brutality" thing in the beginning.
She did. The mic wasn't on.
I watched. She didn't move her mouth.
No, I was there, bro. I was waiting for it. She was on the screen. She moved her mouth. The microphone didn't pick it up.
Okay, good enough then, because it looked like she didn't do it. And then right when that happened, the mic started working and she was doing the rest of the song.
I was kind of disappointed about that too.
She killed it though. That was
once that entrance happened, all the energy left the building after that. It just became a wrestling match after that.
And so did Rhea's. Like it all went.
That's who I'm referring to. I'm referring to Rhea. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know what the situation was.
I don't think it's nerves. Look at her face. I don't think she's phased at all.
I'm going to be honest, it didn't appear to us in the audience like she was in a rush to do fucking anything.
She just didn't care. I don't know. I just got the energy.
I'm not going to go so far as to say lack of care because it's WrestleMania. I have to at least give her by default. She gives a shit about what she's doing. I don't know if her mindset was, I don't want to overdo it and then fuck up. It's like when you play in a game and you're not really playing to win, you're just playing not to lose.
Or maybe she was overplaying safe because she knows she doesn't have any chemistry.
Well, probably that, or they just felt the pressure from the night before because Sasha and Bianca again, amazing night.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a lot of factors. I mean, we don't know them personally. I just know that watching the match, and I was extremely, that's my person, Rhea. That's the one I look at, and I go, yeah, she's one of the best. And I watched that match, and I went, what happened?
It's a very hard argument for you to have after that night.
No, well, yeah, no, I got it.
That night, and that sounds
for
like,
that night.
When I say those things, I always feel like, when I say that just now, I feel like, damn, it sounds like I hated this match. I didn't hate it.
When it got to where it was going, it was good. It was just troublesome to get there.
I just felt like Rhea was checked out. And that's just the way it felt.
I don't know. See, check out. I mean, it's WrestleMania. How do you check out? How is that possible?
And maybe that's why it feels that way, right? Because it's a large stage. You're expecting a certain energy, and when you don't get it, it may look that way. I'm not saying that she walked out and was like, "Yeah, that intro was dope."
I know someone's going to hear this and they're going to go, "Hey, AJ, you gave Bianca so much credit for being poised." Oh, yeah, but she was poised, but she had energy. She was skipping.
If there was one problem, I think if I could nitpick that match, if there was one thing that I felt like was an issue with it, is the fact that I think Bianca had too much energy radiating off of her. You could tell how hyped she was to be there, and she was trying to absorb every second of that moment. Not to say that was a bad thing, but if I was nitpicking, that would be the only thing. But play to the gimmick. This is your moment. Tighten it up a little bit. But yeah, I feel like you're getting the exact opposite in this match, where it's just very calm, slow pace, doing their thing. I don't know. Again, it wasn't a bad match. It just didn't have that energy.
Yeah. And then we have our main event.
Main
event here, triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns against Edge and Daniel Bryan. And up until this point, I have to be honest with you, I hadn't felt it yet. That pop, that huge ovation, the losing your mind situation. A lot of people got a lot of good responses, great responses, as a matter of fact. I was feeling it. And then Edge came out.
And
when Edge came out, the best way that I can describe this feeling is outright
Nirvana.
And utter insanity. This building, my wife made a good point. There was only 25,000 people there. It was only at a certain percentage. I don't know, it was 25, 30%, right? because I kept saying there wasn't a whole lot of great ovations. And she's like, well, I mean, they didn't have full capacity, right? If you have a full WrestleMania crowd, it just sounds different.
It hits different.
Edge's entrance made that building sound like 100,000 people were in that fucking building.
I believe it.
You
can hear it on the screen,
their
too.
Fucking minds. They threw the babies in the air, as Cornette would say. Every human being on the planet, the security guards, the cameramen, the fans, the concessions, when that fucking song hit, all in one motion, the entire building became one solid person, creating one unified sound. There is something to be said about that fucking man and his fucking entrance. I forgot, because we used to hear it all the time, right? With all the events we've been to in our lives. I forgot.
Orton and Edge are two people.
And Orton got a great pop, too, in the beginning. And Edge at the end here. I forgot how fucking psychotic people get when that fucking song hits.
That theme is so good.
When that theme goes on, it is fucking magic. And I was like, oh, because Daniel came out, and obviously you get your yeses, right? And then Edge, and you're like, whoa. And that pop and that entrance was so crazy, we forgot Roman was coming. Because there was a big lull, like a silent part after Edge. I guess they wanted to give people time to come down from that enormous high they were all just on.
Well, they were letting Edge have his moment.
Yeah, maybe there's another part of it too to that, and there was like a part now where it just got real quiet, and all of a sudden it just did it. It was like, oh shit, I forgot.
I want to feel that theme live because it's not like the craziest thing in the world, but
the bass on that is retarded.
Oh my God. I just want to feel that intro.
Because it's that second part where it's like, bam, and you kind of feel that. But the band, you're like, oh
him.
Shit.
I think if anybody else had that theme, it wouldn't feel as good.
I hated the fact that they modified the Shield theme for him, but it does fit.
It fits him
his
really
cadence
good.
And everything, his walk and everything
right.
to it.
Right.
Now it fits to the gimmick way better.
Right.
As a heel. But that's that extra part when the beat drops. That's when you're like, oh fuck. And he got like 80 million fireworks during the course of that whole entrance. And my son was starting to get annoyed because it was because Edge came out and the whole building literally exploded. I mean, there was fireworks and applause. And then Roman came out and he got pyro for coming through the curtain, pyro for walking down the ramp, pyro for getting in the ring. I'm like, if he wipes his ass, his building's going to explode. We're going to be fucked up in here if he doesn't stop. When the match was over, because we were on the floor, we had easy access to the parking garages. We got in our car literally 5 minutes, bro. We were like right there. But we waited for, this was the first main event we saw in our seats. Because we try to beat the people to the train. There's no train this time. We drove in. So we waited and once the 3 count hit, we went for the car. When we got to the car so fast that when the 1, 2, 3 hit and Roman won and he went to celebrate, they shot off more fireworks for his celebration. Mm-hmm. We were at the car when the fireworks hit. So my son goes, oh God. Because it was more fucking fireworks. We had given him noise canceling headphones for the event because we knew there was going to be a lot of pyro. Mm-hmm. And he wore it for like the first 2 matches. And then there was so much pyro, he just gave up. He's like, all right, yeah, pop, pop, fizz, fizz, we get it. All right. He didn't even care. He was annoyed by it toward the end. But yeah, this match, though, you had something on your chest about this match.
Yeah, I feel like it was just a wasted opportunity, man. We talked about it. We gave them free content of exactly what they should do. All they had to do was just listen and use a pen and paper and write it down.
Just ajorsini.podbean.com.
But it's one of the again. So what I said before is, I know that this has been long running. This isn't anything new, but he has the John Cena effect right now without it being necessary. Again, I don't know that era that well. I only know the little bit that I saw, and from what I saw was a clusterfuck. There was a lot of things throughout that whole era that John Cena ran where nothing was consistent. You didn't have as many big stars as you have right now. You could do an entire card full of bangers if they all just do the matches correctly. So there isn't a problem as far as that goes. He has people to compete with. He has tons of people who either deserve runs or that are currently running with him right now. We set the stage for Edge coming back. We set the stage with announcing that he's actually going to be back and be a wrestler. He's not just doing a cameo. He enters the Royal Rumble at number 1 and runs the entire thing, which is something that shouldn't be looked at lightly. He goes on to make his selection. They run this gimmick. No, they run the feud where then they now add Daniel Bryan, which kind of feels like it takes away from it, but Daniel Bryan does everything so well that it worked out. And it's a smart way to both protect Daniel Bryan as well, which I know he's been back for a while, but he still will always need protection. And Edge, he's finally getting back into this at a high stage and he's super excited and everything like that. We got this huge build up in a manner where it would make sense to give it to Edge, but it would also be dope as an underdog moment for Daniel Bryan to take it. So any one of those two winning this match would have set the stage for some amazing wrestling. You can give Roman a little bit of a break, and it actually puts Roman in a great place where he lost the belt due to someone else, so he could literally choose whoever he wants, and he can go on a rampage and start destroying people because he was screwed, yada yada, however he wants to play it. And you give someone else the belt, especially Edge, who's on this, like, people miss him, love that he's here, yada yada, all this good stuff. Then they just give it to Roman, and it just feels like all those opportunities were just like completely squandered just to keep the belt on Roman. And I honestly don't think that keeping the belt on Roman versus your choices that I just laid out to you within this match, keeping the belt on Roman literally does nothing for his character, but just puts the belt on him. Whereas Edge could have had a moment, would have brought him back into the limelight for the 10 years of whoever missed him, anybody knew, whatever the case may be, to put him in that limelight. Daniel Bryan would have been another good choice where he could have bounced the title between him and Edge or whatever the hell you could have done. But keeping it on Roman just for the sake of doing it, it just, like, why? Why did Edge come out in number 1? Like, what was the point of all that buildup if you were just going to let Roman keep it? Now, what are you doing for the rest of the season? For, like, what did they do on Monday? What did they do on SmackDown?
Cesaro.
And you just okay, see, I'm done. Like, this was a good match, but, like, it was a great match.
Okay, yes.
But then at the end, when they gave him the belt only to, so you mean you had Edge do all of that stuff to build up to a great payout only to not win the match and then start the next week, the beginning of the season, with Cesaro?
Oh, wow. Mad disrespectful. No.
I just don't understand. I can
help you understand. Let me educate you, my brother. I got all the answers to all your questions. I'm going to hit them all. I'm going to hit them all in a row. First of all, let's start with your comments at the beginning of all of that, which was to shove down the throat. Because every conversation starts out like that, right? So, but everyone always talks about John Cena, and that's a great example, right? I mean, there's no better modern day example of that. But folks, let me educate you on the world of professional wrestling and entertainment as a whole. Everyone who's anybody gets shoved down your throat. Hogan, Hart, San Martino, Steve Austin, everybody gets shoved down your throat. That's how business works.
But aside from Hogan, champions don't, like, what's the average length for a title run?
Oh man, the math on that is very subjective.
But I mean, not a run. I mean, like, where you're constantly winning every time you defend it. Like, you don't drop it for years.
Yeah, there's been a whole list of people that have done that. It's called dominance as a champion. That very building that we were just in is quarterbacked by a man who knows all about that.
Yeah, but that's different.
But I mean, it is different because one is a sport and one is entertainment, but the philosophy is the same. You pick a guy, you roll with that guy until the end of the fucking earth and you drain all the money from that guy you possibly can, even when he's not the champion. Like, that's why everyone points to Cena, because even when Cena was not the champion, he was in the main events, right? He was always on the top card. Steve Austin, same deal. The Rock, same deal. Bret Hart, same deal. Hogan, same deal. We talked about the main event bracket just not too long ago. What are the main events that we talked about, which blew everyone's mind? That WrestleMania 8 was headlined by Hogan and Sid and not Flair and Savage for the title. Why? Hogan is the guy.
Right.
That's how that works. Always has worked that way. Now, I know people are going to say, AJ, you're being a hypocrite because you just said this current system doesn't allow for that.
Well, the reason why I think people do it with Cena and Roman is because I don't know. I didn't live the Hogan era. I didn't watch too much, so maybe I'm wrong.
But you did live the Austin era. And they did it for
right,
Austin.
But we wanted that.
Right. And there are people who want this. That's what people lose in the sauce. It's not about you. It's the collective. I don't want it either.
That's what I'm talking about. I feel like the collective doesn't want this.
No, and then you would be wrong, and I would be wrong, because I've made that assumption a couple of times too. It's the same thing I did. I made. How many years did we have that conversation about John? Why does it always have to be John? John. The numbers indicate there's nobody else. Everyone buys his shit. Roman did it in the promo actually about a week or so ago, leading up to WrestleMania. He said it. That his numbers, when he's on top, when he's the draw, is better than everyone else. Apparently, his numbers were better than anybody when he was gone from the pandemic. It was like, and that's not house numbers, folks. That's viewership. That means in an era where no one had shit to do but watch TV,
they were watching.
They didn't watch it as much when Roman wasn't fucking there.
Right.
He's the draw. So that's who we're getting. I have this conversation a bunch of times. People lose themselves in their fandom. I am just as guilty as everyone else. I'm not pointing a finger at other people and trying to judge. I'm the same way because I live my life surrounded by wrestling people all the time. You, the people that I work with, fans, I have a pulse of how the wrestling community feels about certain performers. So when that certain performer is the only one they focus on, I go, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because everywhere around me, all I hear are people saying they don't like that. So why are they doing it? So then you look at the numbers. Then you look at the stuff that they put out.
Numbers never
rating
lie.
numbers, merch numbers, ticket sales, events that correlate to when that person is the advertised talent. Roman is the guy, period. People pay good, hard-earned money to see this motherfucker flex and talk and wet his hair and all that goof and all that shit he does. They pay. When I was at WrestleMania, and WrestleMania, when you think about it, if you've ever been to a WrestleMania, for those of you listening, Dave will get you to one so you'll see it for yourself. If you've ever had an indication in your life as to who's really paying the bills in WWE, who's really footing the bill, there are people walking this earth, and I know it's hard for wrestling fans to understand this, but when you go to WrestleMania, you see it plain as day. The guy who buys Enzo's hair and the foam finger, and I made a comment the other day, there was a guy I saw, no lie, he had every replica of the world title on him at Mania. He had the Winged Eagle, he had the Attitude Era belt, he had the World Heavyweight title belt, and he's wearing all of them at WrestleMania. Easily $2,000 worth of merch on him. Mind you, he's got the fucking, he was wearing a Randy Orton shirt, right? He's got the fucking, I said the Enzo here already. He's got all kinds of shit. He's got Fiend gloves on, okay? This is all one guy. This is the audience.
The ultimate fan.
This is the audience. And that guy, I promise you, has never heard of Ring of Honor. Has never heard of PWG or ICW over in Europe. He's never heard of these fucking places. This is his world. This, the WWE, this is wrestling to him. This is what he knows. And that's why the WWE does what they want. I did a post on my Facebook. You just mentioned it earlier about the dives. Right? The people who answered that question on my Facebook are wrestling fans. And what were the answers? Yes, no, depends, maybe, somehow. You know how that's indecisive. That's what that is. No one in that group was on the same page. And that's why WWE does what it wants. Because
you're going to hit something.
Because at some point, exactly, you can't make everybody happy. So you throw enough shit on the wall till it sticks to the point where you can generate a fucking profit. They fired a bunch of people before when the pandemic hit, and people were like, well, they don't have to do that. No, they don't, but they did because they can, and that's how business works. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about some firings that took place so we can keep people up to date as to what happened with that. Did those firings need to fucking happen? No, but they did. Because they're a fucking business. People need to understand that aspect of this. This is the wrestling business. For you, it's a hobby. For you, it's for fun. For us, it is work. This is what we do. So the reactions are different. Trust me, the people on that roster would love an opportunity to be in that position that Roman is in. Okay? Right. But not everybody is built for that. Even if you've got the talent to do it, not everyone is built to be that. Roman is up 4 a.m. every fucking day being the fucking WWE Universal Champion, okay? That is the job. That is what you do. Punk will tell you the story. He feels to this day that his run as WWE Champion for 434 days, that being the champion is what did more detrimental stuff to his health than the wrestling. Because you've got the radio, you've got the TV, you've got the promo, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, your photo shoot, this, graphics, all that. You are a robot when you're the WWE champion, or, if anything, the top guy. That's what made Cena so special, because he did it he is the longest on top guy in WWE history. And the reason he was is because the boy did not break. He did it every day, on the day, for decades. 2005, and if he came into the room right now, he'd be the most over guy on this roster, period. We will never see a guy like that ever again. The system's not built for that. So on to the other two individuals, Edge and Daniel Bryan. You cannot put the belt on Edge and Daniel Bryan. You cannot. For the same reason why they never put the belt back on Ziggler, and they never put the belt back on XYZ wrestler who had it that one time and it didn't work out, blah, 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 blah. Edge is a fantastic performer. I just told you. In 2021, the building went nuts for Edge. He's obviously an over talent. Obviously. WWE Hall of Famer. He cannot be the WWE champion or Universal champion right now. Cannot. He cannot. He can't be on the road every day. He can't do this. He can't do that. I know people are going to say, well, Lesnar, he's not Lesnar. Lesnar is a special case all to itself. As a matter of fact, they're kind of slightly doing the Lesnar treatment to Roman very quietly right now. That's why I'm just as shocked as everyone else. When I was on the round table, I said this is the perfect time to get the belt off him. It's a triple threat. Either one of those two guys don't have to pin Roman to get the belt off of him. This is a good way for him to lose the championship, turn the heat up a little bit on the intensity, and eventually get a dominant win back. That was my plan at the round table. Once I saw the execution of how they ended that match, with the piling the guys up and the showing of the physical dominance throughout the course of the match, now I have a much clearer idea of why they went over with Roman, because this is another example of dominance. They drew money on Lesnar being the unstoppable force. Now they don't have that anymore. They need a new one. And he's the most plausible at the moment.
Right.
So that's what they're going with. Daniel Bryan has already said it 1,000 times. This very well could have been his last WrestleMania. You can't put a belt on that. He is switching over to being an agent. He is working with talent behind the scenes now. His in-ring career is coming to an end. He's been very vocal about that on social media and on the show itself. It's coming to an end. Can't make him champion. Edge physically cannot do this every week. Cannot be champion. Why make him the number one guy in the Royal Rumble? Why make him go? Because if Edge would have come in at 22 and won the fucking Royal Rumble, the internet would have shit a fucking chicken. It would have been the Batista shit all over again. Here comes another retired guy off the bench. He's going to take another spot from a young guy. No. They put him in a position where he earned it in front of the eyes of the fans. To where they put him in the position where, yeah, he's an old guy, but fuck, he was there all night. You know, you got to give him that. You got to give him that credit. He was there all night. They had to make it a plausible scenario. How could you even make? Yeah, Edge is a Hall of Famer, but he hasn't had a match, a decent one, in close to 10 fucking years. And he's supposed to go against Roman Reigns and survive. They had to prove he still had it. He went out there, proved it, built up a great match, especially including Daniel turned his character back into the Rated R superstar just a little bit. Got a little bit of an edge put on that. No pun intended. And they had a great program leading up to it with a great match and a payout that's going to lead to more money matches down the line. You shake your head at Cesaro. And let's be honest, both of us are on the same page. Cesaro's not winning the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. No. You can't win a match like that and then drop to Cesaro. That's just not going to happen. But what did we say about Cesaro's strongest point? Hell of a hand. This guy can get a great match out of fucking anybody. If you put him in there with a halfway cooked pack of ramen noodles, Cesaro would still be able to get 3 stars out of that motherfucker. European uppercutting the soiled noodles for a few minutes. That's what he would be able to do. The idea right now is they're feeding the machine. Keep giving this motherfucker as many guys as he can put down as possible. We all praised that Royal Rumble where Lesnar gave it to McIntyre and made a star. Same scenario here. Cesaro's not that star. It'll be someone down the line that proves themselves as a future main eventer. That's the guy who's going to finally dethrone Roman Reigns. But until we get there, get ready, folks. Buckle up. Because this is the hot hand that they're fucking rolling with.
Oh, well, I'm sold.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you made a very good point earlier. You made the point when you said that the whole McIntyre-Lashley thing just might put Raw over the top there as far as they might be running roughshod here with that program. If they have a program like that running on Raw, and then a beast, an unstoppable force dominating talent after talent on SmackDown, you're going to have a very interesting year this year.
Right.
Because we were said at the beginning of this, and we're ending our review now with this matchup, we said at the beginning, you're going to get an idea to see at WrestleMania who they built up great during the pandemic and who they didn't. And as far as you can make the debate on either side. We shit all over the IC title situation. We weren't that impressed with the US title situation. The tag team situation was what it was. You know, there's still a lot of need of improvement in a lot of places and divisions. But as far as I am concerned, and based on your review of this WrestleMania, the heavyweight title scene right now is looking ferocious.
Yeah.
It's looking really fucking
as
sharp.
Much shit as I give this, as much shit as I gave that match, it was a good match.
It was a good match. They had a great story with it, with the concerto and the double headbutt spot, where they were both trying to choke out Roman Reigns at exactly the same exact time.
It literally... Ooh, excuse me. Oh my God, that escaped me. It literally ended with people, just a massacre. People just getting pummeled.
Yeah. And it's going to be leading to a whole lot of cool stuff down the line. So I'm excited about it, of the possibilities of where we could go. That's WrestleMania 37. We did 3 hours on that fucking review because we had a lot to get off our fucking chest concerning that show. I just wanted to bring up the releases real quick before we up and get out of here. I have the list in front of me. Again, this is one of those situations where a lot of people would love to be on top. It's just not built for it. Should I just go down the list here, or are there any names?
Yeah, just name them.
Excuse me. So we had Mojo Rawley released, right? No surprise there. He's gonna have to find some other place to get hyped at. That's it for him. Tucker, which was one half of Blue Collar, whatever, with Otis. That didn't. You know, if you listen to Tucker tell the tale, that was a money tag team, baby. Money tag team. All right, big man. All right. I don't like when they leave disgruntled.
Otis was the draw.
Otis was the draw. Yeah. I don't like when they leave disgruntled. When you leave sour like that, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. Chelsea Green, that one surprised me a little bit. They called her right up from NXT. I thought they were going to do something with her. And I think she got hurt, and they just kind of lost interest or whatever. So she gets to join her boo, Zack Ryder, on the independent scene, back on that. Mickie James, not a surprise. We were just talking about her on the women's thing and saying, well, she's still on the roster, guys. Like, she's not technically a gone legend. You can still do something with her, and I guess they figured, nah, we're all set. And
it's just too. There's just listen. We said it before, and I'll say it again. There's just too much great female talent right now. There's not that she's bad or can't do it, but at the level of where it's at right now, it's tough, man. You know what? I feel bad for women wrestling right now because it is so good. There's no room to be mediocre right now if you're trying to get on these cards.
Now you got to be great.
You got to be phenomenal because the women, and that's changing, but the women's matches are still numbered to begin with on the card, right? Yeah. There's only one each night. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. There was two. There was the tag team matches, and then the
Wrestlemania as a whole had 4, but that's 4 out of 14. Yeah,
4, right? But 2 days. But that's what I'm saying. 4 out of 14. That's a lot of matches when you're talking about women's matches. But these are, I mean, listen, we had our complaints about the tag team or whatever the case may be, or me anyway. I had my complaints about the tag team, but those are still high-level talents. Don't get that fucked up. Just because I say like this match was bad or I didn't like this, whatever the case may be, you need to understand that these are high-level performers. Even the lowest bar is fucking high.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
you can say whatever you want. These are high-level athletes.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate her to be unemployed for long. You know, she is married to the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, so. She very well could be seen on some NWA television very, very soon.
Right.
And not just because she's, bumping uglies with the champ, but, I mean, she's Mickey James. I can make an argument she's got a higher status than he does. So that would be a very good
she's not out of work. If she wants to work, she can still work.
Absolutely. Wesley Blake on this list. A lot of people were like, who? Yeah, well, there you go. He was one of the Forgotten Sons, but he was also one half of Blake and Murphy from NXT with Alexa Bliss, NXT Tag Team Champions. He was there for a while. Kalisto, I'm very sad because I love the lucha thing, but I'm glad to see Samurai Del Sol will be joining AEW at some point. I'm sure of it because he's friends with all those fucking people. And him and the Lucha Bros, I can already see Penta's frothing at the mouth to get this motherfucker back in the ring. So that should be some cool stuff. Bo Dallas, not much of a surprise. He's been literally home for like the last 6 or 7 months just farming and living. They've just been paying him for forever. So there goes that. Here's the ones that moved the needle a little bit for me, and my wife was very sad. Both Iconics, Peyton Royce, Billy Kay, no longer with the WWE. Man, if that doesn't read Impact Wrestling all over it, I don't know what does. Those two individuals right there, I can see them getting back together somewhere else, as opposed to being the separate entities. They just had Peyton do this big promo. Why not me? Give me a shot, and then they fired her. So there's your shot. The one that's got a lot of people pissed off. This is the last one. A lot of people pissed off, and I can't understand why. But Samoa Joe. No longer with the WWE, and I get it. People wanted to see him do a little bit more than he did. What's with the anger though? I don't get it.
I don't know. That was the only one that kind of stood out to me the most.
Well, I mean, people were like, "Well, injuries aside, they really could." No. I mean, injuries aside, no. The injuries are the reason none of it happened. Because he kept getting hurt. Right. A man got hurt at a tape. What were they? They were filming a commercial when he got hurt. Like he. I'm not trying to disparage Joe. He's one of the greats. He's one of my favorites of all time. I've had a privilege of meeting and working with him on multiple occasions. I love him. But if we're being honest about his WWE run, it was a good run that had the potential to be really great. He just couldn't stay healthy. It happens.
Yeah, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, I would say, are the two that stay in my brain as far as the people that I know outside of WWE, because those are the ones that you used to talk about and watch a lot. So I remember them as the non-WWE guys. Yeah. So I don't know. He's been great and everything that I saw him, strong, powerful, all that stuff. But if he was getting injured, I mean.
He's getting hurt. There's nothing really. Believe me, if Samoa Joe could have stopped doing that, he would have.
Oh, 100%. No one wants to get injured.
And I can't even consider his run a failure. He's a 2-time NXT champion, had a lot of great main events with Shinsuke Nakamura during his run in NXT. His WWE run was also very good. Nice long running program for the WWE title with AJ Styles, which I never thought I would see. A feud between those two in particular for the title. A U.S. title run, a WrestleMania victory right in front of my eyes as he beat your favorite, Rey Mysterio, damn near to death at that particular WrestleMania. I mean, you can't call his run bad. I just think the anger comes from, well, damn, they should have pulled the trigger. Win. It goes to that bubble thing again. Like, oh, he's my favorite. I would have loved. Yes, you can say that. Right. You can say I would have loved to have seen him as me too. I would have loved to have seen him as the champ. But for you to be like, oh, they fucked up. What a missed opportunity. Win. He was on the shelf for almost all of it. Do you want to give him the title while he's in the hospital bed? I don't understand. Even if he would have won the championship, he would have dropped it a month or two later. Mm-hmm. So unless you're cool with him just being a transitional champion, which I don't think he himself would have been that cool with, there wasn't a time, not realistically. But no, I don't understand the anger. He's going to be fine. He's Joe.
Right.
He's going to go wherever he wants. If he wants to do anything, because that's the other part. These people think that, some fans really take it too far. They really think these guys are machines and just interchangeable parts. Maybe Joe just wants to go home.
Maybe.
He was doing a lot of TV with WWE toward the end there. Commentary. He was doing he had some talk show he had going on the network where he was doing interviews and just having a conversation. Maybe he just wants to have fun. Maybe he's done falling on the back of his fucking head for a living. Maybe that's something that, we should all keep in mind. Maybe where's it going to wind up? Maybe nowhere.
Right. Maybe he just wants to break.
I said the same thing about Rusev when they were, where's Rusev going to wind up? Nowhere. He's going to go home. And if he ever gets around to it, maybe he'll pick up a job at, Impact or AEW or something, which is what he did. He was gone for like almost a year, and then he just showed up in AEW. Now his career is worse than when he left, but that's a whole other story for another day. But some of these guys just want to – I think people to this day still forget how hard that WWE schedule is. They just want to go home. Let them go home for a little bit. Fuck, they've been living in hotels for fucking years. I was just in a hotel for 5 days. I couldn't wait to go home. These motherfuckers are on the road every day. Fuck. So, yeah. So, those are the recent let-goes, and a lot going on with that. So, that's our show.
That's it.
Well, episode 186 here.
Ooh, I feel better.
This was yeah, you got a lot off your chest here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot off your chest. So, we got something else going down next week here. We're going to be doing an interview next week. I think I told you about this.
No, you didn't.
Okay, well, there you go. We're going to be doing an interview next week because I was trying to figure out a time, and I think it only works for this particular week, I think. But we're going to be talking to not one but two guys. I'm going to talk to them to confirm. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's why I didn't mention it. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm going to see them tomorrow. And I wanted to see when we can get down and do it. And if we can't do it this week, then it won't be this week. So let me not go that far. But yeah, where the idea is I want to do an interview with, I've never done an interview with them before, so this should be interesting. But my guys, the Blood Brothers, very interested on coming on the show here. That's Max Murda and Savage Sam. You know him as Rays. And definitely want to have them on the show and shoot the shit with them. So this will be your first interview as a member of this show. So, I don't know how much homework you can do on these guys, but there you go. If you're going to have some questions, and we'll do some conversating, and should be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're cool dudes.
Sounds like a good time.
We can throw whatever at them and see how they fucking... Let's hit them with the hard questions. We'll get Max Mercy on here and be like, hey, why do you think Vince is gay? And then just, wait a second. What happened is like, no. Be real with it. We've heard your social media. Meanwhile, he has none, which is hilarious to me. Max Murda has no social media, folks. He's on nothing. The closest thing you can do for him is hitting up the Blood Brothers stuff, which I run. So even if you hit that up, I'd have to pass the message on to him. He is old school, dude. Old school. I mean, I think for a long time he didn't even have a TV in his house. His girl got a TV in the house now. So I was like, all right, cool.
God damn.
But
That's
now,
crazy.
but he also now has a PS5, so we'll see how that goes.
There you go.
Yeah, he's catching up, I guess. One day. All right, one of these 6 folks. That's the episode that we have bequeathed unto all of you. Our WrestleMania aftermath episode here. We broke it all down. There was nothing. We left nothing undiscussed here, which means we're over it. Our WrestleMania is officially over. We'll start branching off into different things, not just wrestling. I'm looking to include a little more non-wrestling stuff onto the show. If you've got any ideas, start sending them over to me, big man, and we'll work all this stuff out. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And, of course, thank you all for enjoying. What a wonderful show we are. Thank you for enjoying the show.
100 episodes, now pay him.
And make sure that you buy my husband's t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM. Please, he needs this.
Listen to my daddy show. He's the best, so I don't know.